Alrighty, guys, it's the DJ Boys, Progressive Patriot Hour, maybe a little more. We'll see how it goes. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. Hello, hello. I gotta say right off the bat, guys, I'm super excited. Okay, this is the individual that I don't want to. She's not. Oh, hold on. I'm doing the rookiest rookie move ever been rookie. Do you hear me? Oh
I
my
can hear
God.
you.
I hear me. Fantastic. Okay. There. Didn't do that. That didn't happen. Just ignore that. So, as I was saying, the video I did, and I noticed maybe a minute amount of what we'd call backlash. Yeah, the video that I ran into, we'll say, on this young lady's live stream last night, that's where I saw it. And with the full context of her message, her experience, her story, it needs to be told. And I feel like it meshes perfectly with the goals, the aspiration, the ambition, the intentions of where this channel, this community, and this family is to go. All right. And when I woke up one day on pure happenstance and went to a random panel channel, I just so happened to go there while she was speaking, and every single word became the new standard of which that I found myself holding as like it's the top tier. It's the bare minimum standard to be a decent human being with a platform, and how to ensure that you speak while keeping certain things in mind. So I've had a whole new take. I would attribute a lot of how I've approached being on a platform to this individual, uh, Valoma Unstuck. Now, without further ado, I'm going to get her right up here. Please give a warm welcome to Valoma Unstuck. Let me drag her in. Oh, I promise I didn't forget how to do this or anything. There we go. Hi.
Yay.
You're
How you
officially in
doing?
there. I promise I've done this before. I'm fantastic. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Does the sound okay? Can you hear me okay?
I
In the
hear you
earbud.
a-okay. Do
Okay.
you remember the fateful day where I first, was smitten by the passion, the conviction, and your message on that? It was Queen Bees. I don't go there so much anymore, but
Yeah. Yeah, I believe Queen Bee's channel.
so that
Yeah. It was one of a few days when I had enough of just the bullshit. I apologize. I get heated and I say a lot of curse words, but yeah, I had enough of the crap, just the exploitation and the lack of compassion and care for the people that are viewing these people, the lack of accountability. So yeah, I spoke out, and yeah, I think that's where I first met you. I think I've seen you on the panel before, but that's the first time that we interacted. Yeah, Queen Bee's channel.
was that the first time that you hit that level of I'm gonna say something?
That was the first time recently. There was a couple months ago, was probably the first time that I hit the level of not able to contain my own anger, to keep my mouth shut, so to speak, anymore, where I felt like I needed to be heard. I couldn't sit anymore with journaling or thinking of my, thinking it through, processing it myself. I needed to be heard. So that was probably the second time. It doesn't happen very often, but as of late, it's definitely happening a lot more. And there's a lot of shit, and I'm tired
from
of all of it.
from that moment on, and every single opportunity I've had to catch one of your lives, it just resonates with me, and it has helped add, the fuel to the fire that's already burning. So, if I may, to kind of kick this off, I want to offer a little context because I think there's going to be a lot of people meeting you for the first time. And I'll say right off the bat, off rip, I'll stipulate this now, and I'll say it again towards the end. Please show Valoma Unstuck as much appreciation, love, and support. She deserves it and more, all that and more. I'm going to get her link and I'll be posting it. But now, aside from that, I'd like to ask you, first and foremost,
Hmm.
if you're comfortable divulging this and only this, would you mind sharing your son's first name?
Cody, Koty. His legal name's Dakota. But about 5 years old, Vanna White had a daughter. and my son was sitting on the floor playing with Lincoln blocks, and Vanna White came on the TV from her maternity leave, and Pat Sajak said, "Tell us about your baby girl." And Dakota heard baby girl named Dakota, and from that point on, it was, "Mom, you gave me a girl name. I hate this girl name." So it was he he was not happy about that. And so he gave himself the name Cody. He spelled it Koty. And so other than the first day of school every year, which left him in a really bad mood, he went by Cody. So on all of his professional documentation, his sports memorabilia and stuff like that, he's Cody, Koty.
Okay, and if I may, um, is it correct? And I don't mean to jump,
I'm
from
perfectly good with questions. I
one
I
question.
appreciate the questions.
Well, first, before I ask a little bit more about Cody, it's Cody or
Hmm.
Coty?
Cody,
Cody,
just like, yep.
how old was he when he left this world?
He was 21 years, 7 months, 29 days. He passed away August 12th of 2016.
So I don't even have the complete clarification. Was it an accident or was it something different?
It was an accident. He was a professional motocross racer at 15 and a half years old. He had obtained his professional license, graduated at 16, started winning races right off the bat. Um, he had a dream of purchasing land and building his own track. And so he accomplished that at about 18 and a half. And so
He
we were going
accomplished
from,
that by 18 and a
yeah,
half?
yeah, 18 and a half. He had his own chunk of land, and he had built a track. He bought a backhoe and some other heavy equipment that I'm not quite sure, an excavator and a skid loader and something else. Um, but yeah, he built his own track. And so that August, he was home for about 6 days in between races. And so he was leaving the following day to go to, he was flying out to Anaheim to do some press for indoor season. And so all of his best friends from Ohio that had dirt bikes, they all came out to the property and they had just a whole day of riding. It was, he had finished the track by maybe a week when all of his, friends showed up. It was just such a happy day for him to finally have finished the track, have all of his friends over. They were going to camp out for the night, and then I had to have him at the airport in Columbus at, I believe, 12:30 the next afternoon. So I had called him at 4:30 to remind him that some of his professional race gear was in the trailer out there. So I needed him to bring that home. And I also wanted to double check and make sure that he was going to spend the night. And so I called him and I asked him, was there any, changes in his plans? And he said no. And, we talked for a couple of minutes, hung up the phone, and he was on a little pit bike, so like a little 50cc, a very smaller bike that I would ride around the track to get from one spot to another so I could, see him on the track. And his best friend was in a truck, was in Cody's truck, had the music, blaring up really loud, and they were just playing around. They were just being, goofballs, just enjoying the day. So Cody was going up the driveway, which had a steep incline and then like an S curve. And he had just had part of it paved. And I think maybe he forgot about the pavement. Jeremy was coming down the driveway at the same time. And there's cameras out there, and the State Highway Patrol, the Sheriff's Department, they've all, watched the video footage. It was nothing nefarious. But Cody looked up at the last, minute, and from what they described to me, it was almost like he had forgotten that there's a lip on the new pavement. And so when the truck was coming pretty fast, he kind of jerked the bars. He ended up over top of the handlebars. The back of his body hit the passenger side door, and he went underneath of that. And so the front tire of the truck went over top of him. and that's how he passed away. It was just one of those freak accidents, like the perfect storm kind of thing. And he didn't survive that.
So I think what a lot of us are wondering, and what I'd love to understand so that it can translate, so a lot of us in the audience can fully understand, how did this tragedy, this very, very unfortunate tragedy, connect to YouTube?
Oh yeah. Well, after he passed away, I went through the funeral ceremonies and all of the press because he was a professional. There was just a lot of people that wanted front row stage, like, or front row seats to the initial shock and trauma. And because I was in shock and not really fully grasping what was going on around me, people were kind of positioning me where I needed to be, pointing me in the direction, and I was in this what we call people pleasing mode, almost like you just don't really know what's happening. And
You're
all
just
of that stuff,
you were just going through the steps.
yes, yes. If you asked me any of the questions or times, I probably wouldn't be able to answer any of those. But if you asked me any of the times or seconds up until the minute that casket closed, I could probably tell you verbatim, second by second. But after that is when it got really tough. People show up to your house, they take over your house. And then after this, the funeral and things are over, when there's no more spotlight, which you don't even want, other people enjoy the spotlight, they leave. And that's when it really hits you that this, giant house full of memories is no longer alive, and it's just so hard to be there. I went back to work because my career forced me to leave my house, turn my phone off, and focus on something else. And I quickly noticed that when I was alone and there was no sound, nothing to focus on, nothing to kind of occupy my brain, that's when I struggled greatly with just the burden of accepting that he was gone. And so I put earbuds in and I started off with Hulu, and then I went to Netflix, and then I went to all these other platforms to watch videos. I was searching for anything that had any reference to grief, what was normal, and like a self-help book, like somebody tell me how to get through this. And there's nothing out there.
I'd,
And that
I'd
led
like
me to
I'd like to
YouTube.
add one caveat. I apologize that I interject, and then we go just smooth as always. I find the term normal, it always makes me kind of belly laugh because it doesn't exist. It's just a construct. It's a notion. It's an idea. But
Yeah.
you were trying your best to be perceived as that during grief.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I noticed that the people around me, the people that were closest to me, when your child dies, you become a walking, breathing billboard for every parent's worst nightmare. And nobody knows how to react around you. Nobody knows what to say. And so it kind of makes you feel like you're broken and like something is wrong for you, wrong with you. It makes you feel like you're the problem. And so as humans, it's our nature to hide things that are bad, but not hide things that are good. And so when you feel like you're broken and you're, not repairable or you're not worthy, you hide yourself away. And that's kind of, I've noticed with most grieving people. And it's not anyone's fault. It's the stereotype that comes with grief. And so for me, when I walked out of the house, nobody acted, or reacted the same way that they had my whole life. People just flat out avoid you. Family members flat out avoid you. Nobody knows what to say. That starts the complication. Exactly, forging thought. You definitely feel like a burden. You feel like you bring the sad. You're the elephant in the room, and I mean, you feel like that because of other, people's reactions just to seeing you. I mean, it really is a burden to carry for anyone who has a child to see or watch somebody lose theirs. The first thing that comes to mind is, I'm glad that that's not me, and it's a normal reaction. So I found YouTube um, two different ways. One, I got so stuck in my grief and so stuck in my isolation that I didn't want to be around anybody. So my hot water heater took a poop on me. And so I YouTubed, how to swap out my hot water heater. My son's power tools in the basement. Woodworking was like a side hobby for him, and I couldn't bear to part with them. And so I was YouTubing how to operate a circular saw, and um, various different power tools and things like that. Just trying to keep my hands busy, to keep my brain busy, so that I felt like I was progressing along. And with my job, I work on the railroad, and I got on a train and ended up in Peru, Indiana. And I got off the train and started towards the dormitory where the railroad housed us. And I found a flyer that talked about the murder of two little girls, Abby and Libby, Abby Williams and Liberty German. Delphi, Indiana referenced a guy on a bridge. And at that time, it was the scariest thing I could have seen because I work with men. I'm in a hotel every other night. If I had to go anywhere in that town to get food or anything, I was flat footing it. And so I was suddenly very aware of people around me and what was going on in the community. So my second trip in was after my son had passed. There was a flyer that said, for more information, Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. And so I went to that channel and I noticed local media could only, for whatever reason, they could only tell us what they were allowed to tell us or what was scripted for them. But Gray Hughes had so much more information than what the local media had. And so I was glued to that case. I was glued. I would get off the train and go straight to YouTube and watch Gray and for updates and look at the maps and, try to make sure that I was safe in an environment where I didn't feel safe. And that's how I became kind of, after there was no closure to Delphi for a period of time, then the next case happened. And what it did for me was give me perspective that, I had my son for 21 years, 7 months and 29 days, but I know how he died. I know what his last words were. I was able to talk to the people that were with him. I was able to give him the most beautiful, funeral that I could give. I could speak for him. And here was an entire community. I mean, a whole city, and in some cases, a whole county. And there's two beautiful preteen little girls that in broad daylight on a bridge on a day that they didn't have school, February 14th, 2017, they were murdered. And their family not only didn't know what their last words were, they didn't know how they died, what happened to them, and they were living in this community where the killer still lived. So I suddenly felt ashamed and I felt very pathetic for being so stuck in my own grief that there's an entire community that may never find their answers. And then the next case came, and that child was never found. And then I felt, how do I have the right to carry so much grief and self-loathing and hatred and blame and shame and all of the negative things when these people don't even know where their child is at? And so I became focused on these cases because selfishly, it gave me perspective and it pushed me. It gave me it drove me to want to do better and be better.
Well, for a moment, this is where I know you stand. I'd like to know, if you don't mind, at what point during your new journey and new affirmation on YouTube, what happened within the YouTube community that it turned against you somehow, some way? Or were you leading up to that? In which case, I apologize.
Yeah, I was. That's okay though.
Okay, no.
The Summer Wells case came along, and there's two cases that have been very close to my heart. Delphi, which by the way was The answers came today, and today was the day, and the bridge guy was arrested, thank God, in Summer Wells.
If
And
I may confirm, the Delphi case, that is the case where the girls took that little snapshot and he
yes,
was just the
yes,
mystery man, right? They
yeah,
got
they
him?
found him today. He was arrested today. Today was the day for the German and Williams family.
Oh my, okay, that is so good to hear.
Yep.
It's
That happened
refreshing when I hear
this
that there's
afternoon.
justice. Okay, please do
Yes,
continue.
the wheels of justice do turn, and there is right for wrong. Um, that case was close to me because, I worked in that area pretty regularly. But the other case was Summer Wells, and that's because I have a family member that lives in Kingsport that for years has been a grandmotherly type figure um, to somebody close to that case. And so when the YouTubers started going crazy, losing their shit, going to Rogersville, Tennessee, screaming in town, following the Wells family and people close to them all over the place. I, I was a little freaked out by that because someone that's very close to the case that had been all over, people had made video after video after video, accusing of just the most horrendous things. And so, this person does go to my family member's house. And so it was I had to, contact family members and say, we need to talk about this and figure a plan to get our family member away from that area because there's so many of them and they were gunning for blood. They weren't going to do anything positive. They were going to build their channel.
Sounds
So
very
very,
familiar.
yes. And I
Yeah.
mean, it was terrible, but a very long story short, for months and months and months, I never spoke out and said anything about what they were saying about this person that my family member knows very well that I had met because I wanted to know who was around my family. And so the things that were being said about her were just atrocious. So one day on a very small channel with, at the time, a very small audience, there were people in the chat that were repeating those same accusations. And so I knew the content creator. And so I jumped on the panel and I said, this is what I said. How do you know that this person never called CPS? How do you know that this person never did anything to benefit or help the Wells family? And how do you know that all of this mud that you're slinging is truth and not rumor? Because you're potentially destroying someone's life over a rumor that fits your narrative. That's what I said. And because I went against the grain, the two or three people that were in the chat are members of a very large group of a channel that is based solely on conspiracy theory, nothing more than that, conspiracy theory. And so they took information back to that channel holder that was um, I was defending this person as if I had known them my whole life. Wasn't true. I wasn't defending anyone. I was saying, how do you know that what you're saying is truth? Because nobody knows the
These little
details of that case.
these little cronies and minions decided to embellish your original message to the
Yes,
content creator.
yes, that I was vehemently defending this person that they were accusing this person of hurting Summer Wells, and
Their minds were made
they
up, right?
hated
That was
that.
it.
Yes, absolutely. No changing them. No discussion, no open for discussion. I went against the grain and spoke out, and boom, from that point on, they um they sent emails to other content creators asking who I was. Content creators would not tell them who I was. There was a moderator for one of the larger channels that I modded for that was sent an email and completely out of context. It was that they had gotten an email that said this person had my email and had lost it and wanted to get in contact with me for an urgent matter. And so she gave my email, and no email was sent to me, but they used that email to dig up my whole life and identity. And so when they didn't find that I don't have a criminal history, I've never been arrested, I've never spent time in jail. I really don't have a whole lot of social media activity at all. So when they couldn't find anything to spin to fit their narrative. Then they found my son's identity, that he had passed away, his obituary, some of the articles that initially had came out that had incorrect information from like local papers, things like that.
They cherry
And
pick the information to make it
very
look
much,
as bad as possible,
very much, they very much did.
and they
And then
weaponize
it
this.
turned,
And how? What
oh
did
yeah.
they do with this with you?
Well, the first thing that they did was they put together a story that I was a Russian spy, that I was affiliated with child trafficking ring, that I was a potential child abductor for child trafficking ring, um, that I had lied about having a son that had passed away, that I was using the story to garner sympathy and to make my way into different channels that had larger audiences. Um, they said that his obituary was completely fabricated, that I was part of a child loss social experiment.
Oh my god!
Um, they sent all this information. So my ex-husband's last name is Trent. And so apparently Don Wells, there's some kind of an affiliation with the last name of Trent with Don Wells and land ownership, something like that. And so then it was that I was related to them. There were threats of sending the police to my home to search for Summer Wells. Um,
Did you say they were sending police to your home
they
to search
threatened
for
that.
Summer? They threatened that.
Yes, they threatened that several times. They used online resources to do like background checks, and so I've had rental properties for quite a while. So some of those addresses are going to show up in my name, but there's tenants that live there, and I rent to a lot of single moms that are just kind of getting back on their feet. Some of them were doxxed. Their addresses were sent out. There were emails that were sent to my ex-husband's family members, some of my former tenants, some of my current tenants, asking how was I related to the Wells down south, ac- accusing me of just the most horrific shit. And so then they sent that information around to content creators. If they saw me in your chat, even not as a moderator or a member, just if I was seen in your chat, you would get an email that would list the crimes against me, the accusations against me, that I was lying about having a son that passed away. I was part of a social media experiment or some shit. And then if you disagreed, if you said, no, I know Stephanie, that's not true. That's not true about her. I've known her for a while. I've talked to her. Then they berate you with questions about me. And if you don't answer those, or if you say that what they're saying is not true, then they start attacking you.
Everybody
And so,
just trying to maintain the truth was made to be a pariah by
absolutely.
proxy. Now, if we could help shape exactly, because for a fact, there is not a majority of people out there within this YouTube world or streets, whatever, YouTube streets, that
Mhm,
understand what it's like for one to lose a child. So, with
mhm,
that context, I
mhm.
I know you've spoken about it a lot. Could you even attempt to describe what that was like to have people, an entire community with their smear campaign telling you your son didn't exist? You're some sort
Yeah,
of crisis. What the hell was that like?
yeah. Crisis actor was used a lot. That'd be a good time to play that video. That's back there.
Yeah, this is a good time.
It's about 4 minutes, I think,
Oh,
long.
sure, of course. No, no,
Yeah, I'll throw
no.
that.
All right, guys. Real quick, I would like to play this video. I've never played a video like so. Oh, you got it from there. Awesome.
Yeah, I play
All
it
right.
from back here, and then when it's done, I'll stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you so much.
just can't make sense of this. Everything is so dissonant. Somebody said he was meant for this, but I'm just straight missing him. I wanna wake up to your life for two, catch you when
That's it's pretty hard to respond to. Thank you for sharing that. For one, I I mean, I found myself remembering when I was in front of caskets of friends. Um so okay, so with that context, which is humanizing somebody that more often than not, a lot of platformers, they just forget there is a soul, there is a family, there is so much more than just the clout, the attention, and the money that you can get by making something hyperbolic and profiteering off of it. So these people doing what they did to you, how do you explain what that was like while you were already, I mean, you were grieving already, or did it just, I mean, how did
Yeah.
you, what happened?
Yeah, the grief never goes away. It's every second of every day.
Take a
It's
moment, take
all
a moment.
always there. It never goes away. Um,
We can pace this, we can also, I can ask different questions.
no, I'm good with it. It's indicative of who they are. They're vultures. Um, they're some of the most despicable human beings on earth. I mean, if somebody doesn't like me, don't like me. But to take my son's death and weaponize it and spit on it and trash it and use it as a scare tactic to silence me from saying that you're wrong and toss it into my face all of the time. It's the most debilitating bullshit. And I would have never expected a community of grown ass people who are sitting on a platform with the ability to do good, to motivate, to educate, to do good, to be, leaders, to lead by example. I would have never known the depths of low that these people will go to in order to make a dollar, build their channel. And a lot of it, I feel like, is an attempt to silence you. If they can silence you, then there's no voice telling them that they're wrong. There's no one exposing their lies and the maliciousness of what they'll do in order to make money or build a platform.
I have learned through being on this side of YouTube that there are maybe 2 or 3 types of people that utilize their platform and use it to control the narrative: predators, narcissists, and psychopaths.
Absolutely, I agree.
They always
100%.
want to silence anybody that would be a dissenting voice and that would dare chip away at their completely flawed narrative. And
Yeah, and the lengths that they go to just silence you. I mean, when I think back on it, I get extremely pissed off because I shouldn't have to prove that I had carried within my body a child, gave birth, raised him, and that he belongs to me, and then lost him. There's nothing right about telling somebody receipts or it didn't happen. Go fuck yourself all the way to the bank and back. That's how I feel about it, and be blunt. I don't owe anybody any explanations. If I don't agree, if you come up with a theory and I don't agree with it, I should be able to say, I respect you as a person. This time I don't agree with you, and not be attacked for that. So these people that go on the attack and they sit on their thrones talking to an audience of sheeple and dumbasses that are just shelling out cash one after another. And then they have the audacity to say to me, because I have morals and integrity and I know right from wrong, and I try to live life in a way that I'm doing good for myself and for the people around me, I don't owe you a fucking thing. But they go on this attack. Receipts or it didn't happen. Receipts or it didn't happen. I said, did you see my son? He looks just like me. I don't have anything to fucking prove to you. But that's not enough for these people, because they are the ultimate narcissistic vulture son of a bitches that ever walked the earth. They take this because I'm not going to show a death certificate, right? Because I'm not going to show a birth certificate, because it's my private information. And because I refuse to do that, they will run with this narrative that I lied about it. I don't give a fuck if you think I'm a liar. But to go on the attack, it was almost like they were so scared and intimidated. Like, I think there's another type of people out here that are almost more dangerous than the other 3. And it's the people, I call it the Jim Jones complex. We all know about Jim Jones and drinking the Kool-Aid, right?
very much.
So we have a whole nother group of people out here that hide behind, they never show their faces, they hide behind a screen. They never reveal their identity, right? But they want to win and they have to be first. So they'll stop at nothing. So they will put together a plan for what happened to baby Summer Wells, not care about her family and her community of people that love her. And they will spin it and they will etch it in stone. And by God, it's truth. Not because they truly want to see the wheels of justice turn, or because we have a system in place, you know what I mean, for law enforcement to prosecute the bad guy. None of that should exist in these people. They have to be, to them, it's a game and they have to win. These people they don't really care that much about money, but they care about the respect, popularity, building a channel, being known, being that, what do you call it? That person who's like, you don't know who they are. They're mysterious. You know what I mean? They hide behind this
Like a
blank
persona.
screen. Yes. And they want to carry it out. People worshiping them and adoring them,
Yes,
telling them that they're right, all that. You're so right. You're so right. You win. You got first place.
they want to live in an echo chamber where they're always the champion. Two examples come to mind right now is an individual. I don't need to name him. A lot of you in the community have expressed this, that, and the other. This individual made $7,000 in super chats just by standing outside and agitating the neighbors of the Quentin family. I don't know the child's full name. Quentin Simon, thank you. And just staying out there and utilizing or creating enough of a disturbance that law enforcement has to break off whatever they're doing to go and try to contain the chaos. The footage that I've seen over there is deplorable. So they're profiteering and benefiting off of that. Oh, hi.
Are you talking about that?
Hello, example number
Are
one.
you talking about these losers, these sons of bitches?
Precisely. Yeah. So here's what I usually get when I dare speak out against these lovable individuals. Eli, they're boots on the ground. Okay.
No,
yes. Well, so then what would you say? Because I think you've been through it. You could definitely articulate it better. Say, Valoma, they're boots on the ground. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, let's see. Boots on the ground. Okay. So they're physically there and you see them on video. But tell me, what's one thing they have done to impact this case or any other case in a positive way? What have they done that's helpful, beneficial, that's contributed to any of these children's cases? Just one. Tell me one thing that they've done that has contributed to, benefited, helped in any way. One. And that's what you hear silence. Yeah, just because they're there doesn't mean they're doing anything. They're standing out. So let's talk about this situation, right? Sure. If you don't know, if you haven't been told yet, I got so tired of Bullhorn Betty and Dolly Vision. I don't know if you've seen any of the skits that are Blowhole Betsy.
Yes, I have.
That's me. I do Blowhole Betsy.
Oh my God, that is you! Ha!
That's me.
Well done.
I do Blowhole Betsy. Well, because I got so tired of her standing outside begging for money, right? So let's be real, okay? You like truth, right? This is a channel of patriots, right? I'm 22 a day, right? I'm a realist.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk truth about these people. The truth is, what has Bullhorn Betty ever done in her entire life except lie? She's created an entire life. I've told her this. She's created an entire life that's not true. She says she's a paralegal. There's no proof or evidence of that in any fashion. She says she has a law degree. There's no proof or evidence of that in any fashion. She says she's a constitutionalist. For someone who's a constitutionalist, you would expect that she at least had a brief understanding of the Constitution, but she doesn't.
Does she not represent the same sorts of people that are like, where are your receipts?
Yes.
Where's her receipts?
She's never shown any. But what has been proven true is the 42 charges that she's caught for being a violent person herself, for being a drunk and a violent person who lays hands on people when she doesn't get her way. She also hides under the guise of being a conservative, right? Well, let's talk about conservatism versus Bullhorn Betty. So I work for the railroad. I make my money. I'm a family of one. I contribute to myself and my community. I work. I pay my bills. I provide for myself. Even when I got divorced, way before my days on the railroad, I got divorced. I sat down with my ex-husband at a table and said, we were the ones that couldn't get our shit together. How do we not make our sons suffer for this? We set up a plan to both contribute to an equal amount and, into an account for his needs, because I believe everybody should carry the weight of their financial and every other need. Bullhorn Betty has never had a career in her life. Not one. She'll tell you that she has, but there's no history of that. There's no proof of that. Instead, She stands on her freaking platform screaming to an audience, and I don't know what's wrong with them. They're part of the problem. She takes their money and does what she wants with it, where
How does
there's
that
no
translate?
appreciation.
I know I can't imagine that you can answer for these individuals, but how does it translate when you're okay? Let me do this. I'm boots on the ground right now. We're outside Quentin Simon's house, and bitch, get that baseball bat and go ahead and send Cash App money, and we'll be seeing to justice. Where does that make any sense?
It makes none. People are paying for what they're calling entertainment, but I call it inciting violence, exploiting another tragedy involving a child.
It's Jerry Springer
They're
2022 is what it is.
absolutely, it's a fuck show. I mean, they're not doing anything to contribute. I mean, law enforcement put Quentin Simon's family in a hotel room. Well, we know the FBI is involved. So what can the FBI do that local law enforcement cannot do? They can lie to them a lot better and a lot easier. They can bug a room. They can wiretap a room. They can put video. They put them in a room for their safety. And then night number 2, I think they spent one night at the hotel. The second night, here comes,
Paid
Bullhorn
for,
Betty.
paid for by their
By the
followers.
community. Well, law enforcement put Quentin Simon's family in a hotel room. And there's good reason to believe that they did that so that A, they could keep tabs on them. B, who's to say that they didn't have the room tapped, wiretapped so that they could hear what's going on or something. The point was they moved them from their home to another room. Police department provided for that. Bullhorn Betty and Dolly Vision were across town in their own hotel room that, yes, their subscribers have paid for their hotel, their gas, their food expenses, their phones, their cameras, their batteries, their deliveries, their you name it.
Didn't Dolly miss a flight, so they actually had to pay for 2 tickets?
Yeah, there was a missed flight and I think additional fees. And you still see them every live stream begging for more money. I mean, there's been 4 phones purchased for Dolly in the last year. 4. And this came from his girlfriend and his previous mods, who I kind of think would know what was going on. But 4 different times, something happened to a phone and his subscriber base paid for it.
Wow, that's living pretty damn easy. And to go out there without any seemingly, I mean, a lot of things have come to light. I do not want to tap into that element to make this specific live about something it's not. But a lot of things came to light and people wanted more receipts. They're there, people. But despite all that,
I can pull up clip after clip after clip. I know you caught one live stream where I showed a ton of clips. I know the one Molly Golightly video from Summer Wells's birthday.
I did a video. I was so mad in the moment after listening to you. I mean, you have a way of just putting people in a pair of shoes that you could never really imagine. You really have a knack for doing that. And so with that, and then seeing that video, I snapped. But yes, tell me more about that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, are Don and Candace Wells upstanding, great people? Probably not. Probably not. They're not bad people because they're poor, because they lived in the holler, because the kids played in the dirt. Okay, they're not bad people for that. There's thousands of people that live in Appalachia, America, that live the exact same way. So they're not bad people for that. But there was substance abuse, there was drug addiction. I try really hard to not be judgmental about other people's difficulties and hard times in life, because I've had, my own struggles with grief and not being a good person sometimes, being angry and whatnot. But just because the outward appearance of them is that they are not very well kept and that, they're not really worried about making it rich one day, doesn't mean that they did something nefarious to their freaking daughter. It does not mean that. So for these people to show up down there and just chase them around town, around the county, from their home to the stores to their workplace, screaming things at them like, you killed your baby, Um, the most vulgar shit. You know, just earlier today, Bullhorn Betty was screaming at Quentin Simon's family things like, it was super triggering for me. She was saying things like, what did his face look like when he took his last breath? Was he cold? Was he hot? How did you feel? Did you watch him die? Did you throw him in the dumpster? Was he still alive? Saying things like this. So initially, the very first time that I ever spoke out is because I wanted people to know that we, the Velomas, are in your chat. The word Veloma was chosen by hundreds of grieving parents across the country. We did a petition to the government. Several of them spoke in front of Congress and petitioned relentlessly. And so it's been approved. And so now 2023 Webster's Dictionary will have it. It'll be in Webster's Dictionary, but you can Google it now, the word Veloma. It's a Sanskrit word. It comes from the Sanskrit language. It means against the natural order. And it also is a word chosen to represent parents who have buried a child. Any age, there's no limitations, Veloma, because we lose our identity. You take my identity was taken from me when Cody passed away, because I went from being Cody's mom from the day he started school and sports and friends and birthday parties and all of those things. Thank you, Queen Survivor. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for that. You become your child's parent. Most of the time, their friends don't even know your real first name because you're just Cody's mom. You know what I mean? So when they pass away, you lose that entire identity is gone. So your life is focused around your child, your comings, goings, think about your grocery list, the meals that you cook, when you do laundry, on what days, sending out gas money, mail, paying bill, everything is focused around your child. So when they die without warning, not only is it the most emotionally and physically debilitating and painful thing that you'll ever, and I mean ever, experience in your life, and it never goes away. There's no new normal. Nobody makes it better for you. You have to make the decision to find life on the other side. So we carry those memories with us. He's never going to walk in the door again. I know that. But the memory of his life has to come with me everywhere I go. Every new person that I meet that becomes important to me, I carry him with me, and his life and the things that he went through will be lessons for other people. So when you take the Summer Wells case, for instance, when those buffoons went down there and showed their whole asses, acting a complete, utter, absolute freaking junk face.
I was not around during that time, so please fill me in.
Would you like some clips of their behaviors?
Feel free, absolutely.
I can clip the shit out of you. I can pull them up and show you what they've done.
Whichever.
They didn't. They're so focused on, like right now, the Simon family. I will pull clips and show you. They're so focused on hurting the family members, or who these idiots feel are guilty, that they're forgetting that there's an entire family or community of people that also loved that child. So when you're screaming things like, did you see him take his last breath? Was he cold? Did you choke him out? You're not just saying that to the people that you think are guilty of this crime. And let's not forget, we have a justice system and a judicial process for a reason, and is to prevent things like this from happening. Until law enforcement slaps some handcuffs on somebody, and until they have been arraigned and charged with a crime, until a jury has found them guilty, there is this whole thing that makes us a beautiful country, and that is innocent until we're proven guilty. So Bullhorn Betty, Dolly Vision, Molly Golightly, and all the rest of these fuckers are nobody different than you or I. We don't have the right to go down there and raise hell and terrorize an entire family because you think you're a body language expert, because you think that you're a syllable expert, and because you are so pathetic that you can't come up with content to put on YouTube to entertain people with any amount of truth, because you know that you're a loser, that you have no life skills, you've accomplished nothing in your life. You contribute to society in no way. You can't hold even a job. But here you are, going to be a child advocate, screaming to an entire community, not caring about the veteran across the street who's 88 years old, an 88-year-old veteran who served his country, did his time across the street, cannot sleep at night in his own home because of these people and the riots that they're inciting. There was a woman 2 doors down or right next door to the Simon family on hospice care. That means end of life, dying. That had to go to the hospital to die. Her choice to die in her own home was taken from her because these sons of bitches think their channel growth and their coins are so much more important. And there's the idiots that are shelling it over to them. I mean, it's like, what come first, the chicken or the egg, is what we have here. Who is the real problem? Content creator that's standing outside screaming like a wild buffoon? The most vulgar, vile, disgusting things to an entire community of people that love this little boy before an arrest has even been made? Or the fuckers that are in the chat paying for the content? Which is worse? That's the
Accountability
question I have.
on every side. I'd like to get your opinion on another element. I know absolutely that it's not quite as comparable and as bad as, you know, the boots on the ground and inciting rage and all that. But what do you think, having the experience that you have, when people get pretty wild with their speculation and actively speak? And this is something I have been guilty of, like with the Kylie Rodney case. I was interested in all the people that got involved, Xana May, Tony Dutt, the people that just found themselves there, and Sammy Smith. But how do you feel, given your perspective, when people start getting pretty wild with the conspiracy angle and talking about people that are still going through it?
I think it's wrong on every level. I think they're entitled. You're talking about people that that keep it going, that keep the conspiracy going, and they don't shut up.
Well, I mean, I'll be I have to represent my own truth. I do feel there are certain elements regarding a few cases where it's not just closed book shut for me personally. I can attest to that. But what I want people to remember is when they're going out there and talking about, like, no, this person did that, like, of the family, not of other YouTubers that have inserted themselves into the narrative, of the family that is going through the loss, and then everybody starts accusing this person and that person without really knowing. So your opinion about that, and not specifically that case, just in general.
In general. So my opinion on that is this: every parent whose child passes away, especially if the child who's passed away has been without warning, so, you know, sudden and tragic and traumatic, and old enough to have it, you know, lived a little bit outside of underneath mom and dad's umbrella. So driving, going to parties with friends, hanging out, you know, after school, things like that. You know, when they're younger, they're up underneath your butt all the time. And so, you know, 24/7 where they're at, what they're doing. But when they start to kind of, you know, leave the lap a little bit and they're hanging out with friends, a lot like Kylie Rodney's case, I wish that people would think about this aspect, meaning my side of the fence.
I'd like to add one caveat. Like, I see Valoma is cool with Captain Kurt Reacts. Last night he was in the chat, right? That was you, right?
No, he wasn't in my chat.
I apologize. I mixed that with Voices Behind the Wall. My mistake.
Yeah, that wasn't my chat.
Well, then
I've
delete
never
everything,
spoken to him before.
move forward, and speak as you were.
Yeah, I've never spoke to him ever. I can't even tell you for sure which one he is. But I'll say that what people are forgetting is that I'll use my experience, for example. When Cody passed away and I went back to work, there came this period of time that I felt like I needed to collect him, or the pieces of him that I could obtain. Meaning, I knew that there were stories that I had never heard, photos that I had never seen. I was desperate to remember his voice. So I have videos at home, of course, but I knew that there were things out among the world that I had not seen or heard. That other people had videos and photos and clips of his voice, and I needed those. I felt like pieces of him had been splattered among the world, and I felt this urgent need to gather him and make him whole again. And there's something special about my relationship with him, not just because I'm his mom, not just because I birthed him and he came from my body, but I have some very private moments of his childhood and his life growing up, and I've not chose to share those because if I give the entire world every memory, every video, every photo, every part of him, then my relationship with him is no longer special anymore. So this period of time comes, and I've talked to so many other Velomas, moms and dads. They did the same thing. We just didn't really know why we were doing it or what to call it. But it's like gathering the parts of them. And you go online, every social media platform, and you Google their names and you search for their profiles or their friends' profiles that have, videos and photos. You will do everything that you can to find those, and then you save them all. You download them, you save them, you buy external hard drives, whatever it is that you have to do, you save them. And it's like you're making them, the memory of them, whole again. For me personally, the biggest struggle that I had immediately after was that his baby book would never be finished. That he had graduated high school, he had a professional career, he owned vehicles, he owned property and land, he was on TV racing, but his baby book was never going to be finished. And I know how crazy that might sound, but it was the mom in me. I'm never going to see him get married. He's never going to have a baby. I'm never going to have a grandchild. But I had to fill the end. I had to fill this baby book up. It was unfinished and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I printed off the photos that I had never seen before, the emails and the letters. People were, they would screenshot their text conversations with him and then they emailed them to me completely unfiltered, knowing that he's 21 years old. He's not always, appropriate like he would be around his mom. But they were such a blessing to me because it filled a space that otherwise would be empty, that would be hurting me today. So when it comes to these crime cases, the aspect that I don't understand, and I'm so thankful that I don't, is that there was no crime attached to my son's death. So I personally don't know how they feel, but I do know that the day will come that they will do exactly what I've done, because every person, and I've talked to thousands of parents that have lost a child, and the one thing, there's so many things that we all have done, almost like a time clock, but they all will do that. So everybody that loves her, her parents, her family, her siblings, they will come to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, social media, TikTok, all of them, and they will search for her name and they will save. It's like a mass search, click and save, and then you go back and you watch it later. And they will hear every word that's ever been spoke. And so when the parent comes out and says there's kindness in keeping in minding your business, what I wish people would have done, if I'm honest about it, I wish people would have not watched that video and just listened to her words. And I feel like they would have felt differently about that video. The body language and the words, too much for this community, because we have professional body language experts amongst us.
I just want to add, this is something that I consistently bring up every time somebody wants to share their judgments about anybody that has lost somebody, that is grieving, and getting so deep into that doesn't look right. What do you know? What the fuck do you know? You're not the one that just lost your son or your daughter, and you're going to judge her because her face looked this way, her voice sounded that way, and oh my God, she had sushi the day before. That is where I have an absolute unequivocal issue with people judging and making an entire foundation of a theory based on just that.
I'm glad. I'm glad because people don't think about that. They're so rushing to be first, to be the leader, to be the happy, to get the booty pats and the extra super chats because they got it right, because they were the ones that were right and they guessed it, the whole crime. You know what I mean? They're so gunning so hard for that recognition of being first that they just don't care. I understand that law enforcement came out and said that Leilani is their number one suspect. And I feel like they should not have done that because that's what set the vultures down there, assuming everybody's going to be like, yeah, go get them. Not everybody's going to be like, yeah, go get them. You know, if Leilani killed her son, there's no room in society for people like that, in my opinion. In my opinion, I do not want to walk amongst people that are capable of hurting their own children, let alone killing their baby. That breaks my heart to think about it. The sad fact is, we do live among people that are like that. So there's no room in society. Stick that bitch under the fucking jail if that's what she did. And if anyone in her family knew about it, stick them under the jail with her. But we don't have the right to just assume that and then to support these wild, crazy people that are down there. They're not down there to do anything good. They're down there to make money and to build a platform. They're down there to be crazy and wild so that law enforcement gets called, because what happens when law enforcement gets called? So does the local media. And that's all they fucking want, is to be in the local media. That's all that they want. Gabby Petito, it was the water bottle. Okay. I have that video. I have that clip.
That I saw last night. That's incredible.
Yeah, the Gabby Petito water bottle that was found with the bones. Well, you can clearly hear law enforcement behind Bullhorn Betty say they're not taking the water bottle. And then she makes a fit about it. Oh, they're not going to take the water bottle? No, bitch, because they know that y'all planted it there. They don't want it. They know it's not right. Months later, Olivia is drinking out of the water bottle. And these people that are onto these jackasses are clipping it and putting it together. And then we've gotten permission to share it because we want people to know. So it was the water bottle in Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie case. Then came in the Summer Wells case at a church. There was like, those Halloween costumes for like little kids that are like ninja costumes. And it's got the plastic, bendable, completely foldable, rip it in half knife. It looks like a knife, but it's plastic. You can completely fold it in half. I mean, it's not sharp. You can't hurt anybody with it. It's literally like a piece of plastic that you can bend. It's like silicone and plastic on the bottom. So they found that. This was in April. Summer disappeared June 15th, 2021. So in April 2022, there they are at the church and they find this knife. Then in Utah, the case of the two women that were found murdered at a campsite shortly after they had gotten married. So they allegedly found a weapon to the murder weapon to that case, which didn't happen. Excuse me. Then
for a moment,
Kylie Schulte.
I just want to welcome those of you that have come here from the lovely Patty Lynn and Tam Fams Live. Welcome to Progressive Patriot and Valoma Unstuck, who I believe is right now, as far as I'm concerned, the one YouTuber that has a message that needs to be heard by everybody within this community. So, please do continue.
No, you're good. But it's what they do. They show up to these cases there's a theme to the cases that they choose. There's always young kids or teenagers, young adults. There's always a history of substance abuse or alcohol abuse in the home. There's always every case there's some type of an issue with like a stereotype or a stigma. It's always like with Summer Wells, they're from the holler, they're from the backwoods, the bad part of town, the wrong side of the tracks kind of stereotype. All of the cases are the same. And the other thing is law enforcement is not standing in front of the family protecting them. Law enforcement isn't doing that. And I know that that's not their job, but these vultures are using that to also decide what cases that they want to pick. With with Kylie Rodney, with that case, until Ryan Upchurch got involved, and started, you know, with his theories and things like that, Bullhorn Betty and Dolly Vision were all on top of that. If Ryan would have said,
I got to be honest. I got very invested because of Ryan Upchurch's coverage.
yeah, Ryan turned everyone's head to the Kylie Rodney case. And there were people talking about it, but you had Bullhorn Betty and Dolly Vision that were spinning theories, threatening to go to this location and that location with their bullhorn and scream and holler and carry on. They were talking violence. They were accusing, you know, law enforcement of things before any details ever came out. That's how they operate. So if they can spin the narrative for one case, they will create their persona and go into this case with whatever identity to raise ruckus, to create havoc, to get the news cameras there, to draw the attention on themselves.
If I may, as I think about it and recall that time, it was to me like Ryan Upchurch and the like his true crime squad, which is Captain Kurt Reacts, father and son. Reacts was there, and one other. What they were doing was trying to make sense out of all the information, and YouTubers and people that literally inserted themselves into the fray, into the case, and off of their like just banter. They were just talking together, trying to make sense of things. Then people like Dolly and Bullhorn would go ahead and act off of what was being theorized and try to make it like, let's get to the conclusion first and make sure it's as hyperbolic and sensational as possible. And it became a race to be who has the most shocking new evidence now. And just like that Check It TV individual, he's like, I have all this personal information, got our laptop. Now here's the announcement. Now I'm gonna make a big old paywall. If you guys want the truth. Profiteer.
Yeah, do you remember Molly Golightly saying all the right things to get Ryan Upchurch on her panel? And saying everything and body language the right way to keep him on her panel. And then the minute he left her panel, she talked mad shit. That's Bullhorn Betty. Ryan could have jumped on Bullhorn Betty's panel or Dolly Vision's panel and said anything he wanted to, and they would have lapped it up like lapdogs because it brought people to their channel.
Oh, yes.
It built their subscriber base. It didn't matter. I'm saying in reference to Bullhorn Betty and Dolly Vision and Molly Golightly and Jaundice for All, Justice for All, but I call them Jaundice for All because let's be real, is a bit orange. All of these people, they don't care about the victims, the crime itself, finding the facts, watching the wheels of justice turned, the judicial process. They don't care about the families that are left behind to pick up the pieces. They don't care about the community that's impacted. They don't give a shit. They purposely and with intention go against the grain because everybody has picked up on when you go against the grain, you're the bad guy, you get talked about, and there's a lot of drama thrown at you. And that's what they're here for because that's their only income. Because when you're a freaking loser and you can't hold a job because you have no life skills and you can't, put together proper thoughts because, you're all about what you can take from other people. When you have zero education and your entire life has been a complete lie, right? Everything about you have created yourself on paper. Like Bullhorn Betty says that she's a member of the press, right? Here's her fucking press pass for all I care. So when you're that person and like I'm almost 50 years old and you're our age, you can't go chase a fucking career by now. You've wasted your whole life being a drunk. Bullhorn Betty will stand and call everybody around her a drug addict and a prostitute and a piece of shit, right? And an alcoholic and whatever. Okay, let's think about it. We don't know that she's never had children. She could have had 10 kids and gave them away. We don't know that to be true. But she's a child advocate, right? We do know that she has a problem with alcohol. She has a huge problem with alcohol because she caught 42 charges. She was treated different because she throws the girl card all the time. She's one of those. She carries a girl card in her pocket because she can't handle being a grown-ass woman who's independent, self-sufficient, educated, and capable on her own. So she has girl cards always in her back pocket. But she was arrested 42 times, and we can show you that shit.
Which
So
one? Sorry.
they can't hold jobs. They can't make money.
Yeah, no, clear as day, which is why it makes sense that they're going to defend what they do regardless of any fact or truth.
With their life.
Absolutely.
With their
They're
life.
with the bone and they're going to bite. Which one, Molly or Bullhorn Betty? Because I swear through one of the clip channels, I saw one of their arrests that was made public through a FOIA. I think it was Molly. Was it
the fat cow with the diaper ass that was screaming, I'm not a dumpy dump, and trying to sell her son? Or was it not a video, but still shots of mug shots of what, looks like somebody has been rode hard and put away wet? Do you remember which one it was? Because then I can tell you who it was.
It was an active video.
That would be Molly.
Okay.
Would you like to see it?
Shit, yeah.
Would you like to show that?
I would love.
I'm here for it.
Also,
I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm here for it. Well, I got you.
Some people have warned me, perhaps with good intentions, but they're like, "Man, she's gonna come at you." I don't care.
Who gives a fuck, Molly Golightly? You're nobody. Okay.
My whole.
Are you scared of the truth?
Exactly. That's it. Done and done. No, never.
It goes back to this. People don't hide things that are good. They hide things that are bad. Well, this is a social platform, right? Social media. Molly has a channel and a whole lot of blind sheeple that just lap up every word that she says like it's, mustard, their favorite flavor. If you don't have bad behaviors, there's nothing to hide. So why all of a sudden you got 4 or 5 people on this platform in the true crime community, child advocates, victim advocates that care about people, right? But you can't show their fucking truth. They will let you clip and share all the fuckery at the bottom of that driveway of that 20-month-old baby that is missing, presumed deceased, 20-month-old baby. They're looking for him at a landfill. But how many times do you see them say his name or put his photo anywhere? Never. They don't. So they don't care about clipping that kind of bad behavior. But they want to hide all the rest of the ugly, right? So their arrest records, like Andra can say, well, that's not 42 times. I bet you was arrested 42 times. Okay, bitch, you were. You was arrested 42 times. Miley used a dumpy dump, okay? And you got arrested for stealing from a stripper. Miss Tom Ford, glorious herself. That's truth. Why do they want to hide that stuff? The difference between hiding that, their arrest records, and Miss Dumpy Dump getting hauled out of the strip club, wasted off her ass after she stole money from a stripper who is so beneath her. Strippers are so beneath her. They want to hide that behavior. But they'll stand in a driveway and scream to Don and Candace Wells, I'm glad your kid's dead. You killed your own daughter. They don't want to hide that. Clip channels clipped the shit out of it. Why does that make sense? Truth and truth, but they want one hidden and not the other.
This is where I want it to be very, very clear to anybody that embraces the community, the neighborhood that I am trying to build. All right, where we can put aside our differences and focus on the truth and shining a light on everything that needs a light shined on it, universal issues. So with that being said, I fully consent to you pulling up this video that I have seen before on one of those clip channels. And yeah, I mean, for somebody that is an advocate, a so-called advocate of the truth, this is why when I started this platform, I told on myself. I recited every sin, every charge that is all expunged now. It's all out there, and there's 3 years of it if you want to find me on youtube.com/stuckinthemiddle. But aside from that, yeah, let me know when it's all good, and we'll show it just for the sake of that.
Right now.
Yeah, please take your time. I want to thank everybody that has joined us for the Progressive Patriot Hour. If you have not, and I only ask if you feel that it is deserved, please don't do so out of any other sense. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. I am trying to shine a light on things like CPS corruption, whistleblowers that end up unalived, and cases that aren't national, so therefore not the most popular to focus on, and just use the resources that I've been blessed with since this channel has taken off. We have a lawyer, we have a private investigator, and more than that are willing to help us. I have 5 families and growing that are going to use this platform so we can do exactly what we intend to. So
I can
thank you
show
for
you
being
so
a part
many
of that.
clips tonight that you would. I can show you so many clips. I have all the time in the world to do it. I
I'm
mean,
here
I'm really
for
sick
it.
of these people.
I'm here for it.
Let's
I'm
see.
gonna and I
Also
welcome
have-
B Tim, by the way, and
Hey,
to all the
B-Tim.
names that I am not familiar with. It is a very refreshing thing to see, because I know, being fully transparent, when I speak about specific platformers that have been embraced, such as myself, in any sort of negative light, because I feel they have earned just that. I know there's always fallout, flack, and whatnot, but that I can't. If I am going to stand for what I believe in, I will fall for the same damn thing.
Let me Google it here, or not Google it, but put it in Savage's search engine.
Oh, yes. And please, guys, as you can see, my lovely mods are doing exactly as I hoped. They are sharing Valoma's link. She is, see, in my mind, in the selfishness of building this community, our community, I look at her as the grief counselor that we all need, that freaking YouTube needs. So please subscribe to her channel, and know she has built a channel with the whole plan of being a place where people that are grieving can go and share everything without fear of judgment or any of that.
Oh, absolutely. That was the whole reason for my channel, was an open place for changing the narrative on not, people not being able to talk about grief.
Eliminating the stigma as best as possible as well. And hello, Dawn. Thank you for allowing the Valdez family to correspond with me. Again, we all know where it stands. No pressure. I'm glad that we're on the Facebook group. You just say when, and we will have the interview. I know the sister's not doing so well, but I'm very excited of all the possibilities that we have, family, that we can accomplish, and that the world will notice. I'm just that crazy that I believe in what we've set out to do.
I think I was gonna say hi to my brother too. Lefty, not right. I didn't want to interrupt or
No. By no,
stop the flow earlier. Lefty, not right is, if he's still in the chat, that's my brother. I told him I would be. I think I sent him a message. I put on my community tab also.
Well, welcome,
So
Lefty, not right.
Yeah, he's funny. He's also on the railroad, stuck, I think, away from home today, maybe. I'm not sure.
I see you got something.
Yep. So I believe that this is in 3 different videos, and this is from New Orleans. There he is. What's up, bro?
I'll drop to chat with you sometime
in the private chat, so you can drop it in your chat. That's the link to this video right here.
Oh, should I hit the link, because I see your screen?
You don't have to. I mean, I've got it right here. I can share it, but
yeah.
When I play clips, I always copy and paste the link into the chat, so that if anybody wants to verify or validate what they're seeing, they can go to the link if they want to.
Okay,
it's up
if you
to
so
how
wish.
you want to do it. This is from Science Girl's page.
Should I just hit add stream?
Yep, you add it and then I'll play it.
Done deal.
And this is Molly Golightly in a strip club in New Orleans. She stole from a stripper, and the cops are showing up. She falls on the ground on purpose. She's a whole ass mess.
I have never seen this part.
With Science Girl has a channel, and she lives in New Orleans, and so she was able to grab that FOIA request.
I assume audio begins during an encounter.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Here's our "Let the Truth Shine Forever, No Matter What" Molly, right?
You good?
Yes. Okay, let me say this woman right here at the time, yes, this is the arrest of Molly B. Tim. At the time, this was one of Molly's patrons, moderators, longtime subscribers that was there with her. Molly not only treated her like crap, but tried to blame her for the theft and all of the other stuff. Here's Molly.
Man, stand up. Come on, man. Use your feet, man. Come on. Walk with us.
Melissa, get to the hotel.
Walk backwards. Switch arms.
Guilting outside of please help me. Substantive milk and Kentucky alcohol. Use my cousin. Please help me. I told you.
I would agree, Scars.
Like she's such an adult that they couldn't hardly get her in the car. All these officers have to show up to deal with her.
What's up, Sarge?
Okay, we're gonna figure everything out together, okay? I am helping you. That's why we calmed it down and we're just walking.
I don't know what happened. Okay, so they take her and put her in the car, right? And then I'll show you the rest of these
Okay.
because she's just a pig.
Sorry, I'm my IG is there for those of you that have been asking. So there you go. If you want to follow me there. I'm just now learning how to utilize it again. It's been there for quite some time. Oh, what's up, Dev? Okay, good to see you, brother. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, sorry.
All good. Hey, it's a freestyle. We're live. No worries. No.
I can show you clips all day long for these tragedy events. So the person that's pointing, her channel is called Science Girl, and she's pointing to. Will you take offense to that? Pigs are going to sue you for this.
Yeah, the pigs take offense.
The pigs. I didn't call nobody a pig. Did I? I didn't say pig. I called Molly a pig.
Yeah, precisely.
And a hog. Okay. Oh, Molly takes offense to anybody, who's
So I've been told.
responsible and reasonable. So they're inside the strip club, and then the hand's going to come up in a minute and point to what happens. The money. She's like taking her time doing it. She's not even hiding it.
I love the happy-go-lucky music. It's like
Yeah.
watching a twisted episode of Sesame Street.
Mm-hmm.
But this is to offer the context of the actual crime committed so we understand the train wreck footage that we see. Because I've seen worse than what we've seen thus far.
Yeah, like when she's screaming in the cell. I'm not a dumpy dump.
I think when they ever get her into her room or close in front of her house and she's screaming all sorts of craziness.
That's probably another time. This one,
Oh my
they actually
goodness.
take
How
her
many
to jail.
times?
Everywhere she goes, she's a walking train wreck of instability and lack of responsibility.
And look, Molly, if you ever see this, this is me just learning about you. Okay, I've seen and heard you like the truth, and well, I'm here learning a part of your truth. So take no offense to that.
When she like tried to say it wasn't her, like, are you kidding me? Your
Really?
freaking melons are hanging out all over the place. That's your worst attribute, because if you're gonna do criminal behavior, everyone's gonna spot you. You know, when you got your whole chest exposed like a whore. This must have been Kate that night, not Molly. Who knows?
Stealing from a stray. Okay, so we got
Yep.
during a hug or something.
Well, she's married, right? She tells everybody all her husband this, her husband that. I mean, for a married woman.
Sorry, is that who she's talking to in the background all the time? Like during the birthday thing? Was that her husband or the son? I don't even know.
When you hear her go, Adrian!
Yes.
That's her husband.
Oh, okay.
But this guy is not her husband. This is a strip club in New Orleans. And this is not her husband. So she stole the money from the stripper over there on the table. And now she's being kind of friendly with this dude who is not her husband. This life coach.
Yeah.
herself.
She wants to be a life coach for children, right?
Yeah, it's a joke.
See, I've learned not to always hold people's history against them when they evolve. But she tried to say it wasn't her. Did she just finally cop to it? Did that happen?
I don't know if she copped to it or not, but I know she can't
refute it.
deny it.
No.
Yeah, she's in jail. She, I mean, this is not her husband right here. And watch her.
Gotcha, as above, so below. Thank you for joining.
I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was married, that's the last thing that you would catch me doing with in a bar, drunk, acting a fool ever. But then add this dude that is not her husband. I mean, like, watch what she does. This is her husband. This guy right here is not her husband. She is in New Orleans. See what I mean? That's trash.
What a tangled web we weave, indeed.
Now there's a stripper right here that's bent over a table talking to someone else, and Miley starts being inappropriate.
Do you know anything about this? And I want to be very careful addressing this. I'm going to put a comment up, okay? Or do you see that comment at the bottom? Here, should I do you,
In the back chat? The private chat?
No. Lilith. Check out Lilith's comments.
That's the Nick Carter.
That's a thing?
About the Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, okay. I had just no idea what the hell that was all about, so.
That's what she claims. That's her story. Yeah, she claims that she had a fling with Nick Carter when he was 16 and she was 21.
Fascinating.
Yep. So that's her stealing the money. And then here she's putting it in her pocket.
Oh yeah, guys. I see. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, guys. I just started a Discord. Feel free. Everybody's invited. Well, you will be vetted, but you're invited.
So there's that part of it. And then
Just the one I saw, and I think it was maybe either Heels with Her or Deets in the Streets, where they showed the entirety of her. I think she was taken to her home. Apparently, there's more instances than one, but
we'll have to look at Deets because
she said some pretty wild stuff. Yeah,
let
Deets
me
is.
let me show you this one. There's two channels zipping around from since Summer Wells on. They have got all the
Chronicles
scoop.
of the Shady.
Chronicles of the Shady.
I've
Yep.
seen them around. Okay.
So let's see.
Oh, we're taking a look for that very footage, right? That I was referencing.
I'm gonna find that one on another screen.
Okay. Oh, totally. Okay.
I'm gonna show you some of their behaviors from when they were down in Tennessee to show you that they have a long history of not caring about the people that they claim to care about.
Fully fired from Tucker's. I mean, you know, again, it's going to be another pressure campaign if he does another job. We've got a mole inside Tucker's.
So Don Wells worked for a company called Tucker's Drywall, and he was at a job site working. Candace was there with him, helping him. And these buffoons rolled in and got Don fired from that job for, did we get to the part where Dolly had a ninja turtle mask on and then had to sign up that he wants to marry Leilani? He thinks child killers are hot. Not yet.
Oh God, I've only heard about it and seen thumbnails. There's so like I stopped feeding it, even though it's there. It's a cancer. It's eating itself, and by proxy, eating people that watch it. But I am receptive to the truth, no matter how ugly.
Oh, here it is. Yes, this is the one I wanted to show you. This was the Summer Wells case.
So he's fully fired from Tucker's. I mean, you know, again, it's going to be another pressure campaign if he does another job.
Right,
We've
let's
got a
go,
mole
Brandon.
inside
Oh my
Tucker's.
God, they're together.
You know, drywall division.
They're about to be. Molly's on her way down there now.
Yeah, I heard.
If he's allowed back, if he's not allowed back, if he goes to a job, we're going to know exactly where Don's going to be from this point forward. You know, and the great thing is it's a text message. It's some person. We got the text messages, but we don't know who we're communicating with. They won't give us their name. They won't tell us who they are. But obviously,
is that why I don't remember his name?
Yeah, obviously, because we never told you because there was no name to tell.
Okay.
I mean, we don't know. We don't
So
know who it is.
names.
But it is a reliable source. They took us right to where.
We went. Holy.
No, the truth is they didn't tell her because she's a loudmouth who, I mean, she serves no purpose other than drawing attention to herself. And they know that she can't keep her mouth shut, and she would have told everything that she knew. So they didn't tell her who the contact was. Make sense?
Totally.
Now, it'll make sense towards the end of this video when you see how they behaved at the job site, because you're going to hear what they said and did. It's a short clip. It's only 1.5 minutes long. And
Oh, no worries. And be sure on your own time to check your private chat for later reference.
I jumped out of the car. Did you see me running?
I hope you like it.
Right there. John's right there on that house. On a white truck, and I guess the red Subaru.
I knew it. I knew it.
The last house.
Which house?
The first house.
That white truck right there?
Yeah.
No, you want to park down here first?
See the white Subaru? See the red Subaru right there, and the white S10 truck is looking right out through the window. There's his truck right there. Against the
Isn't it? You're talking about the F-150?
See the garage door? No, that's Jay.
Oh, I see it.
The F-150, Jay.
Come on, let's get.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dudley. Go.
The house right there.
So Dudley, this name right here, was their confidential informant that was giving them all the information. And they were live streaming and they yelled his name. Thank you, Dudley. So if you're somebody who they come to and say, you know, can you give us an inside scoop? We'll protect you. We'll keep you private. That's how well they keep you private. On the live stream, they said his name. So the whole community down there knew, you know what I mean? They knew that they were the idiots, or they knew that he was the idiot that was giving up all of this so-called, you know, secret information.
They outed him. Yeah.
100%. And I think this might be
Knoxville, Tennessee. It was our first day in Tennessee. I was hired to film my friends and received a free trip with all accommodations included from the generous donors that give their money to my friends.
that's not the right one. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Find the video.
Oh,
They're
welcome.
I may have to use
streaming
this
it
platform to get
at
political.
John
I just
Wells.
found out one of my commissioners has sided with the devil
I'm glad your baby.
and tried to take one of my friends off the BOCC. He is a
Hey,
despicable
Tim, do you know who has
person, a little
that
man
for
problem.
quick reference?
Another one of them. Another one of them. I think it's time for us to go to his house and protest. Kevin Van Alsten Bridge, you are making me sick to my stomach. I have to
This is a city council member in her city, her hometown city.
tell you that. You are absolutely, without a doubt, making me sick to my stomach. What the hell happened to you? I will use my platform to burn your house completely down if need be. Vanessa doesn't need to be removed, you do. You have
heard that
lost your
right.
damn mind. Sorry, guys. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
You heard that right. To burn his house down.
Mm-hmm. That's
You wanna
that's when these platformers utilize, like, I hope everybody that supports any of the individuals covered realizes or sees when they are just more than happy to use you all to have you give your money and to do any dirty work they want. They want to utilize you all to harass others. That's something I never want to see because I've been on the receiving end.
Yeah, these people are bad. I think I'm trying to find the specific one. I think it's in this clip.
Oh, CC Suarez. So I sent a message to CC Suarez.
I'm going to skip past all that stuff because
You want to watch that video? You want to see
Here
how
we
Molly Golightly gets down? Let's go.
Here, I want to show you this, Paloma. Something was accomplished. Check this out right quick. Be proud. All right. You see that right there?
Oh, good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dawn, can I say something to Dawn?
Please.
Just type that in there. Don't feel dumb because there's a reason that you came to YouTube. And when you first come here, it's actually not dumb to think that there are real life, grown ass people that have platforms with hundreds or thousands of people that are subscribed to the content that they put out. So to me, it's common sense to assume it would be safe to take them at their word, or that they are competent in what they're saying. I mean, not everybody is perfect all the time, but to think that you would have to vet people, you would have to like actually search people and find their bad behaviors. I mean, we all would feel dumb. You know what I mean? We're grown ass people here. And so to learn that there's adults that behave like this, that are here for your dollars, your money, they have become so good at what they're doing. They can pull you out of a crowd if you have a vulnerability. They can read it in a chat based on how you're interacting with other people and then prey on your vulnerabilities or weaknesses. I don't like saying that word, but your struggles, what you're struggling with right now. The first time I said anything about my son passing away, do you know how many content creators knew who I was by my name, by my chat name, and started saying my name on their live streams? A lot. So I don't think that you should feel dumb. I think these content creators that are using their platforms to take advantage of people that are in vulnerable positions, that are going through life's trials and tribulations, that are looking for something to occupy their mind to maybe get through a hard time or something. They're the people that should feel dumb, because it's all going to come to an end. The smoke and mirrors is going to, it's over. It's over. There's enough of us now that are banding together to expose them for all the bad behaviors, so that the rest of the people that are coming, even if you're not going through a rough time, even if you don't have a struggle, if you're not grieving, if you're not going through a divorce, if you're not having a financial hardship, if you're not having a difficult time with a child, if you're not worried about the empty nest syndrome, if you're not figuring out how to pay for college, or just having a headache and don't want to fucking put up with life's bullshit right now, there's enough of us that are exposing these assholes for who they are, showing you what they're here for. And there's two goals for me personally. If they're here for a bigger audience, then I want to show their audience, when your dollars are gone, you have no value to them. You are of no value to them, because the only value that they find in you is the monetary worth that they can put on you. When that's drained, they don't need you. They don't want you.
Speaking on that fantastic point, the entirety of this show from this moment forward is only available if you use a super chat. No, I'm kidding. I am kidding.
Super chat. Yeah, see, that's how they are. It's about money. And if you're not contributing, so they won't block you if you're a member, and they won't block you if you're a financial supporter.
And one of
I
them
was a financial supporter.
I'm sorry, who's selling wrenches, mod wrenches for $100 a piece?
There's several that have done that. Dolly Vision will sell them for hundreds of dollars at a wrench. Or if you're a woman, let me tell you how mad this makes me. You can send him a nude photo.
Yeah, there's a few people that I have,
and that's what he does.
And exposed for that behavior, which is unacceptable on every front.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, it takes me to a whole nother level of anger with not. I don't dare shame a female who has sent a nude to him, because I'm not kink shaming anybody.
No.
If you're a grown ass man and you have a platform, you call yourself a child, advocate, and you talk about all these things that you've accomplished and that you've done, women are going to see you as trustworthy, especially whenever you start coming after them. But you're a fucking predator, and that's what he is. He's a predator.
Something I wanted to elaborate on is you
mentioning...
My
words, not Patriots, mine. My words. Yeah. Predator.
Nope. Absolutely. And you know what? Hey, I'm here for everything she's saying. I wanted to add, for you reminding people, like, don't feel dumb and taken.
Don't. Please don't.
It's more about what I have identified is there's a lot of people out there that just want to feel like they're a part of something greater, larger, that want purpose. And sometimes we, as being nothing more than human beings, see this being a part of this or contributing to something else as filling that void. So you've been guilty of nothing more than just being human.
Absolutely. And there are channels out there that do really good things. Don't get me wrong. I am a huge supporter of supporting good channels. If there are good channels in the community, whatever community that you're involved with, that are doing good things in that community, they're positive and supportive, they're positive influences, they should be supported. We as subscribers have a responsibility and a duty as much as content creators have. So if a content creator doesn't have an audience, they stop trying to, produce content. If they're here for money and they're no longer receiving super chats and cash apps, then they're not going to stick around.
Yeah, if they stop getting $7,000 in a single live, they might just change their behavior.
That's right. And that's the goal, If we subscribers are supportive of the good channels that are doing good things in the community, that are setting an example for other content creators, then give them your view, subscribe, click the bell, all of the things. And if you are somebody who wants to support financially by memberships or super chats, then I encourage you to do that. And then don't give any of your currency, whether it be financial, your attention, your time, a click and a view. Don't give it to the assholes that are out here, because if that's what they're here for and we watch it, even if it's hate watching, it is still a click and a view. It still puts them in the algorithm and other people are going to find their content. So we have a responsibility, and we don't have the right checks and balances, right? It's like House and the Senate. You know what I mean? We don't have the right to bitch and complain unless we're willing to put forth the work to make it better. So I don't subscribe to any of that bullshit. Clip channels will put out all of the bad behavior in a very short little clip. So you don't have to weed through hours of their shit in order to find out that they lied, took more money from people, and followed through with 0 promises that they made. You get it all in a clip channel. It's not out of context. It's just shortened to the facts. So the mumble jumbo shit in the middle, you don't have to weed through. The clip channels will put the link. If it's something that's utterly important to you, you can click the link and go fact check it. But we have to hold each other accountable to stop watching these channels, stop supporting these channels, stop giving them the attention, stop giving them information. They can only grow as big as we make them grow, because we, the subscribers, are what make or break a channel.
Damn
It is
right.
not the content creator. It is the subscriber.
Unlike the country we live in at the moment, we still have power as the people, more so here within YouTube, which is why I found it impossible, despite all of the well-meaning advice. If I'm going to focus on larger issues, human trafficking and tragedy and all of these huge insurmountable things, if I didn't speak on what's happening in my own backyard, I'd be a hypocrite. That's why I can't avoid it.
Like, you know, I agree with you 1,000% on so many different aspects. And when we have veterans that are homeless and open borders with signed checks for housing and electricity and everything else. I mean, I'm with you on a lot of it. When it comes to this platform, I'm done. I'm done being a silent lurker, hoping that it gets better. It's not going to get better until we bring the accountability. We have to bring the accountability. We have to hold each other accountable. We have to say to one another, why are you still watching it? When people come in my chat and say, did you see what Molly Golightly did? Why are you watching Molly Golightly? And why are you in Molly Golightly's chat and mine? Because I'm nothing like her. I never will be anything like her. And I'm not relatable to her. I'm not saying you can't watch me and her at the same time. I'm saying don't come in my chat, please, and bitch, because you spent 3 hours watching Molly Golightly completely fuck around and destroy somebody's reputation, or make someone cry, or tear down another woman, or treat another woman like shit, or use a child's tragedy in order to, monetarily gain. In that video of her celebrating Summer Wells's birthday, there was one part, and it's hard to find. I'll show it to you if you want. But she says things like this all the time. So there's a button at the bottom by the super chat, whatever. You could donate directly to whatever organization or foundation that she's having this fundraiser for. But you can also super chat her. And there's people that were super chatting her. And so somebody in the chat someone came into her chat and said, why aren't you going to donate that money too? And she said, yeah, I'm going to donate. So she holds her phone. It's lit up and she's doing like this on her phone. She sets it down and she walks away and she comes back and she's mashing buttons again. She's like, okay, there, I did it. I donated, and sets her phone down. And her people in her chat actually went and said, well, we watched her donate. I know she did. Bitch, you don't know nothing but what that fat, lard piece of shit told you to go and repeat. She did not make a fucking donation. She did not do that. If you make a donation and you're bragging about it, you're telling your chat that you're going to donate $1,000 to this organization, and then you go through that of doing it. Would you not then hold your phone up and be like, look, I donated. Do you see? You see it really clear? I donated. You know what? She chomps her food like a cow eating freaking straw all day long. And she'll do that on a live stream. She will have a side view photo of her naked ass, and she'll take a photo of it and and put it on her channel. But she won't hold her phone up to show a receipt for $1,000 donation.
Eloquently,
You know what I'm saying?
perfectly, just the simplest questions often lead to the common sense answers. Exactly.
Yeah. Like she didn't donate shit. Days later, when people start calling her out about it. Well, didn't you donate? Didn't you donate? No, Molly, you didn't donate. No, you didn't. She still today will tell you that she donated. She's talking about people that went into the little button down below where it said the NCMEC Foundation. You could click directly to that. But nobody's questioning her about that money, because that went directly to the NCMEC Center. Talking about what went in the super chat. Now she'll say, well, if it didn't have my name in it, or if it didn't say for Summer Wells, then I didn't have to donate that. It was my super chat. Bitch, you have in your title that you are donating all the proceeds to the NCMEC Center. And in your title, it says, happy birthday, Summer Wells. And you have your fat, pathetic, worthless fucking ass sitting at a table with a goddamn birthday cake saying, happy birthday, Summer Wells, and balloons and music, eating like a goddamn fucking worthless pig. And you have the audacity to take money and then question people that are asking you to show proof. She made about $4,000 off Summer Wells's birthday. About $4,000.
I remember last night, or perhaps you don't. My beef with BHB, while I've had general disdain, when she said, Hurricane Ian really damaged a lot of people that I know and that lost everything. And she said, donate to me, cash at me, so I can help the victims. That doesn't translate to me. I guess I saw some footage or a picture. She had a pack of water, and there were some people further down the line. Just there's a better way to go about it, is all I'm saying.
So I know somebody who I saw the message in a private Discord, but there are screenshots for receipts. And in 2 live streams, in the beginning or the end, she shouted thank you to people that had sent Cash Apps and PayPals. And then all of the super chats that came in, people added it up. And it was like $900 in 2 days that people had donated based on the thank yous for the super chats and PayPals and the Cash Apps that were coming, and the super chats that were coming in. It was almost $900 in 2 days for the hurricane relief. And the only pictures that we saw, or the videos that we saw, were Walmart bags of groceries and bottles of water. Well, so when I would go grocery shopping for my house, before my son passed away, and I would buy things for him to take to travel with, we have a Pepperidge Farm here in town, and so he loved some of the Pepperidge Farm products, goldfish crackers and cookies and whatnot. That's what it looked like. It did not look like somebody who went to the store to buy a mass of groceries for hurricane relief. It looked like junk food from a grocery store, and she was dropping off bottles of water. She pocketed the rest of that money. The thing that I find the most important about all of this talk about money is it's about money because you're exploiting somebody else's child's tragedy. So you have no ties to this child. You're not in the same community as this child. You've never met this child. The entire community is feeling the loss of this tragedy. And then a lot of times, an entire community is still traumatized because, you're waiting to find out what happened. Is there somebody in your community that's dangerous? And here these people come and they take it from like a 5 and a 6 calm level to like a 25 and a 26. and they profit off of that. So when people come back to me and say, why do you care so much about how much money they're making? I say, do you have children? And so if it's your child that's lost, your child that's dead, your child that has been traumatized, and I show up and I'm speaking on behalf of you, or I'm voicing on behalf of you. What if I run around your town and tell everybody I'm your advocate and I'm there to collect money for funeral expenses and you never see a penny of it?
Yeah,
See,
no.
the one thing you can do that will make you are a forever enemy of mine, is if you disrupt the memory of my son, if you muddy that water, if you act like a vulture and you take the few things that I have left, if
Paloma,
you speak for him, I'm
you
coming for you.
finish your. Well, I think I have the perfect question for you. I think you might entertain or enjoy answering it. Let me put it on screen for you. What's your answer to that?
Let me ask you this. You don't think that Leilani Simon should have people out front of her house right now? No, I do not. Not at all. I do not think that Leilani should have people in front of her house. Tell me, can I ask that person a question? So I think that if Leilani is guilty of hurting or ending the life of her child, there's no room in our society for that. And so, yeah, she should be under the jail. If her mother is in any way, shape, or form responsible, even in part, for the demise of that little boy, then she should be under the jail with her daughter. That goes for every person in that family. All of them. If the neighbors know, they all need to go under the jail. Kill them. Give them whatever punishment you want, but I don't want them in society. They're evil, and there's no room for people like that in the society that I live and walk among, and I don't want them around people that I care about.
What I'd
So I
like to add
agree with that.
real quick is the
But what
drain,
is
the attention and the drain from law enforcement, because they have to deal with the element outside that has become disruptive and chaotic, and violence is broken out. The neighbors are getting threatened. That's all I want to
100%?
add. Yeah.
What good is coming from them standing outside acting a whole ass fool, rioting, bringing the city bringing the locals down there with them? So can you tell me, that came from SB 42 or 420? Can you tell me how they're positively impacting or positively affecting this case, how they're helping or benefiting this case? Not Leilani, not her mother, not law enforcement, not the community, but the case as a whole. What are they doing that's improving, contributing, or bettering any part or any aspect of that community? And please don't come back with, well, they got them to come outside and talk, because that didn't happen. That didn't happen. They were screaming back and forth at each other when Leilani and her mother busted outside, all kinds of upset. There was nothing, no new information that came from that. There was no confession, no admittance of anything. And there was no movement in the case because law enforcement never arrested anybody. So you can't come back and say that when Bullhorn Betty shows up, she makes shit happen, because that's not true. The other thing is this: if you come back and tell me, well, how would anybody know about the cameras at the trailer park? If you go back and find, where did that come from? It came from Dolly Vision on Court TV. It did not come from Vinny on Court TV. Dolly Vision said it on Court TV, and Court TV Vinny never repeated it. That never came from law enforcement, not come from the trailer park, did not come from spokesperson of the family. It came from Dolly Vision on Court TV. Never been confirmed. The locals ran with it. Dolly Vision went to the trailer park. They told him that they didn't know anything of what he's talking about. And the locals went there, and that's what the trailer park told the locals. Dolly Vision came here, and we said, we don't know what you're talking about. So please don't come back and say anything about a camera of somebody throwing that precious baby's body into a dumpster, or somebody confessed to them, because they have cameras everywhere. So if it happened, it would be on video and there would be an arrest made. So other than those two things, which are not applicable, and they don't get to take credit for shit that they didn't do, can you tell me how they've impacted any of the cases that they've put themselves, inserted themselves into the middle of. One positive way, and I'm happy.
The cases, not so much, but their bank accounts.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. That's all they're there for.
So
I just think this family is a grade A piece of crap. You know what? They might be. They might be. I don't know that to be true, and I'm not in a position to judge them. So I choose not to, because I'm not God and I don't sit on a higher throne of judgment to pass down on other people. Everybody has struggles. Everybody has struggles. And so, you know, when you originally came in the chat and you were like, so do I think blah, blah, did it make you feel good to say that though? Like, and to say something like, I think the family is a grade A piece of crap. There's a lot of people that think that. So I want to know, does voicing it in someone's chat behind a hidden name with no photo, which I'm cool with. I think everybody has the right to their own privacy, 100%. But I just wanted to know, does it make you feel like you're better than them because you say it? And do you also feel like you are completely oblivious, or I'm sorry, completely immune to the fact that tragedy can strike anybody at any time, and that you don't have any kind of privileged immunity from having something terrible happen to somebody that's truly good people in your family that you love and care about? Because we don't get to make the decision. Nobody called me on August 12th, 2016 and said, hey, is it okay if your son dies today? I didn't get a phone call. No one asked me ahead of time. No one even gave me a warning and said, hey, this is going to be the worst day of your life and you're going to relive it every day for the rest. Nobody did that. Nobody said the whole world is going to judge you if you smile at his casket, which I did several times when I was gifted with someone telling me a story that I had never heard before. And I smiled standing at his casket. There were people that said, kind of a mother smiles at a casket. The mother who's never heard that story of how he helped another family or another person or made them laugh during a really difficult time. And it was a gift while I was standing next to his casket. So I just want to know, do you feel better as a person for voicing your opinion to this entire chat, that you think that family who you do not know, you're only judging them based on what you've heard online? What's the intention behind being so harsh towards them? And how does it make you feel after you say it? I'd like to know those things. Those things are important to me. Would like to know.
I was hoping that you would share that anecdote about you laughing at the funeral.
Absolutely.
I remember. Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Sure did. I laughed. They were gifts that I can put no price tag on. And there were people that see that person in your chat, somebody that would be like, oh, people stood in line for 4 hours just to walk by the casket and to say, thank you, you know, for raising this child, to say things like, only the good die young, to say things like, oh, he's in a better place now. I listened to all of that shit for hours. And occasionally would be the person that would hug my neck and say, I don't know how you're going to do this, but I'm here for you. And they would tell me a funny story. They would tell me something I had never heard before, because they knew that was the most difficult moment. I was second to get through it. And if they had a story of him accidentally spitting milk out of his nose, or, you know, tripping and fallen and ended up rolling in the mud all the way down the end of the drop, whatever it was, if it was funny or uplifting or happy, it was a gift at the perfect time. And there's people that would have judged the fuck out of me for laughing, standing next to his casket with my hand right on top of his cold dead hand, laughing and smiling. It was a gift. And there's people that will judge me today. What kind of a mother? This kind of a mother that raised a very successful, very independent, very happy, very giving, very loving, very compassionate, very fun loving, overly happy, like joyous, that wake up in the morning annoyingly happy kid that didn't judge other people.
I think
I
think he's offered his olive branch, you know, in his own way. And I do want to, you know, since I got the freaking microphone, I am curious. SD420. Your name is very indicative of somebody that's tried to be a problem for me, but has been unsuccessful. Is there any relation? Is your name an acronym, or are you that person? Aside from that, I'm uninterested. And thank you for being here, regardless. Aside from that, do you want to play this video, and then I have a final question, or I have two questions.
Yeah, this video is important, I think, because Don and Candace Wells, this is them at work. This is Don at work. Candace there with him because she didn't want to be alone in her house where there were it's full of memories but no sound. So she went with him. Regardless of what we think about these people as human beings or as parents, their children were just removed from the home like just a couple of weeks before this day. And so when I talk about those days of accepting that, you're stuck in a house full of memories and it's so loud and the noise and blah, blah. So Candace is with Don at work. The boys have been removed. Some are still not found. And here we have Dumpy Dump Molly Golightly and Andra Bullhorn Betty and Chronicles of Olivia. Everybody gives her a pass. So they found out where Don was working at, and they showed up to his job site. So they didn't just harass and incite violence and terror at their home and at their church, but this is what they did at his job. Think of the words coming out of these bitches' mouths at a moment that still, it's been over a year today, for those that are about to say, they're pieces of shit, blah, blah, they hurt. Don's been in prison or in jail for over a year. Candace has been by herself for over a year. If one of them was guilty, don't you think they'd be in jail by now? They'd be arrested. If one of them was guilty, they're not smart enough to have put together this plan and outsmarted local law enforcement, state law enforcement, the FBI, the TBI. They're not smart enough and strong enough to have ran this for this long, my opinion. But let's watch how they got treated at their job.
Hiding from us.
Where's Summer, Don?
Summer, where's Summer, Don?
We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Where's Summer, Don? Where's Summer?
Let's go. Let's go.
Where's Summer?
We're not going anywhere.
Oh my God.
We're not going anywhere. Let's go.
Where's Summer?
Let's go.
Is that Molly?
We're in the public street.
Molly. That's Molly.
Get out of here. Get out.
So here's their other coworkers and an interim boss. So like I think they said it was like a field boss, like a work site supervisor. And they're being told that they're not wanted there, that they're bringing too much trouble and stuff.
My fucking face. Look, goddamn, you get out of mine. Come the window. Out here.
Leaning on a car, and you can hear Molly saying, just come talk to us and we'll leave. And I'll take down every video I ever made about you. Just come talk to me. Because again, it's about getting the story, which by the way, we've since learned they want these stories, these firsthand stories, because they've been selling them to the media. That's why they want the media there. They create the scene that gets the media to their location. Media gets a photo op of them at the location, which validates then that they have an interview with somebody who is a direct person front and center to this tragedy. So like suspect, parents, whatever it might be. And so by getting the story, right, the interview, or having the interview on record or on tape, it's validated because the news has already been out there and has a video of them picketing or screaming or whatever. And that's what they're doing. That's how the Sun and all these other little channels, or I'm sorry, news places, have been putting out little snippets of information. They're not getting them from law enforcement. They're getting from these idiots. That's how Dolly Vision was on Court TV telling Vinny that he flew a drone over a trailer park, and that somebody from the trailer park told him that there's a video of Leilani putting that baby, that beautiful 20-month-old baby boy, into a dumpster. This was all orchestrated from them and they
Dolly's
have
the one
found a
that made that
system
claim?
that works. Yes, that came from Valley Vision. It did
Holy
not come.
crap.
I can show you the clip
No,
of
this
where
is
it
not,
orchestrated. It did
I,
not come from anyone else. It came
I,
from him.
I heard, sorry, I don't, I did hear something to that effect. You just nailed it home. So like,
Yep.
and if they create a disturbance, they get to profiteer more because the media is going to want to come in and
Yes.
see the disturbance. Everybody
Yes.
wins except the victims.
Yes. Well, let me say it to you like this. It's been I mean, it took a while for everybody to put together. Let me put it like this. So the media comes out there initially, right, to do reports, right, to update the public based on what law enforcement is telling them. So they're, they've been there several days videotaping, putting on the record or on the video the protesters. They've done stories about the protesters. And so in those protester videos are Betty and Dolly.
Sorry,
So now they've got,
I'm having technical difficulties. If you can
oh,
hear that, I do
you just went
apologize.
dark.
Yeah, I'm dark, but you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And can you hear that Windows noise constantly?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, Jesus. I apologize. I'm gonna have to mute. You want to keep?
Yeah, I can keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
I'll play the rest of this video for everybody.
We do this absolutely every video on everything. How about that? Sorry you lost your job. I'm sorry that your baby's dead. I'm sorry that you don't have a soul. No soul. You have no soul. The bitch.
Can you hear that? Can you guys hear what
I'm here without the. Can you hear me? By the way.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can you
so
hear me?
my video is just not gonna work, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
But thank you. That's okay.
You know what? If you remove yourself from the stream and then restart or refresh your screen,
Oh yeah, that
and
works.
then
Right?
add yourself back to it, maybe that'll work.
Yeah. Hey, you're good at this. You should like
Well,
have like
not
a
really.
channel or something.
Maybe one day.
Everybody,
It might
please
work
show
that
her
way.
some love. All right, subscribe to Valoma.unstuck.
I didn't realize how big my nose looks really long on this camera on this thing. Never noticed that.
When you mention that,
That's what I would say.
there's a platformer out there that had something to say about my Junos. Yeah.
Who said that?
Yeah. Oh, I offered him the opportunity to explain himself. So if he gets
What is
wind
a
of,
Junos? What is it? What is?
I
Did you
guess
say what is?
it's the Jews, they have that large nose. That's the stigma. That's the whole thing. So I just wanted to ask him and give him the opportunity to explain himself before I watch the video where he says this comment. That's all. So I'm leaving.
Wait, there's so many racists around us, believe it or not. There's people that are very ugly. I can show you videos of Molly Golightly and Bullhorn Betty and Jonathan Lee Ridges being racist.
Yeah,
I can show you those.
sadly, there is no end to hatred, but that's why I'm even more inspired to make a community that believes, that has our intentions, and the intentions do not rot from the inside. I'm gonna remove and I'm gonna pop back in. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You keep on.
I'm gonna finish playing this video for everybody that can hear this stuff. What she just said was, I'm sorry that your baby is dead. I'm sorry that you lost your job, blah, blah, blah. They're the reason that this happened.
Sorry. Of saying, if you do this absolutely every video on everything, how about that? Sorry you lost your job. I'm sorry that your baby's dead. I'm sorry that you don't have a soul. No soul. You have no soul. The bitch. Sorry. Of saying, your daughter's dead? I don't think I said that. Okay, so
accidentally photographing a child in a church that is, you know, okay. Accidentally photoing, and she was sitting
I
right.
didn't even know you photographed her.
In
By
case
the
you guys
way,
don't know what she's. Oh, are
I'm,
you back?
yeah, I'm not gonna worry about the visual. It's okay. My voice, you're here. That's all that matters.
I can entertain your chat if you'd like. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm happy to
I'm
have you
just
here.
kidding.
So yeah, play this one through, and then I do have 2 final questions.
Okay. She's talking about when she went into Donna and Candace's church and videotaped someone else's daughter or child and then put that child all over the internet and then tried to say, not on purpose, it was an accident. I mean, that would be believable unless you had, spy pens turned on and ready before you walked into the church.
In that photo until
And
they
then
brought it
everyone
up.
was saying that I was a liar.
Right.
Everyone said I was a liar. So yeah, very interesting the way people want to come. But this child is all over YouTube anyway. Anyway, so
Out of the Tri-Cities obtained a police report.
Yeah, it was my friend's daughter.
Oh my God.
That was recorded in that case, Robin Lane. She went into the church and purposely sat down next to Robin's daughter. Robin was singing, and they had spy pens, and they recorded Robin's daughter, who was very close to Summer's age, and they have a lot of the same physical appearance attributes, blonde hair, blue eyes. And because Robin would not agree to an interview with any of them down there, that's what they did to her. And that's how they do things. That's how they operate. Goes along with the online bullying. I don't like that word, but the online threats, the doxing, all of that
real
stuff.
thing. I will admit I hate talking about this because, I know the people that were harassing me are happy to know that they did damage. I'm happy to report the damage is in the rear view. I learned and grew stronger from it. But there was a time where, I am bipolar. That's not an excuse, and I don't want anybody feeling bad for me. I've also learned how to harness mania, but it became really, really stressful. I almost considered checking into a freaking hospital between my full-time job and the harassment here, but I'm glad it is all but gone. So that aside, do you mind if I ask you 2 quick questions?
Not at all. No, right. I'm open book.
Here's one, and with this, I want to preface, most importantly, this is very much a reflection of solely Veloma's opinion on this matter specifically. So that question is, how do you feel? And I'm not naming the platformer because I personally get along with her and I think she's good people. There's a lot I don't know. How do you feel about platformers that reach out to families that are in the middle of active investigations and get them to speak outside of the investigation on their channels? It gets a lot of views.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great idea at all. I think I personally would never want to do anything like that because you're inserting yourself into an investigation. Again, when these are children, tragedies involving children, the death of children, the missing children, I personally would have an absolute shit fit if somebody who's not law enforcement is inserting themselves into the middle of of my missing child's case. I would not, under any circumstances, be okay with that.
I think Adams hit the nail on the head with that one too, right there.
Yeah, legal counsel. I don't think it's okay for any platform, for any person that has a channel to reach out specifically to victims or their families of cases. With that said, I will say this. I feel like when people like Betty and Dolly and Molly and Olivia and JLR and John Does for All, when those people show up, they create the divide right off the bat. And this is my personal opinion. They show up pointing the finger at the entire family, and they start this terrible hate campaign, and it's at the worst time of this family's life. Like, not only can they not leave, and I'm not sympathetic or empathetic to baby killers. I'm not. Like I said, if they're guilty, there's no place for them in society. But I believe very firmly that we have a judicial system to provide justice. Sometimes that might be wrong, but if you're telling the truth and it's your child, and you let the investigators do their job, you let them find the guilty person, and then you let the prosecutor's office bring the charges, you let the law handle it, because otherwise you're going to be in trouble. So when these idiots show up, they create the divide, and they do it on purpose. They do it because they're creating these stories that they then sell to the bigger media platforms. They're making money also, not super chats and shit like that, but they're also making money because they create this whole other narrative or spin, and then they legitimize it by being present, and then they sell it to the bigger media. Bet your ass Dolly Vision got paid to be on Court TV. Bet your ass he did. How did he get to be there? Because he said that he had insider knowledge. How did he do that? He said he flew a drone over the Azalea Trailer Park, which was right behind the house, and then there's a dumpster there. So local media has him already on camera being there protesting. That backs up that he's there and that he's present. Then he puts that on Court TV with the episode of Dolly giving his thoughts, and then people run with the story and believe it. And so he makes money by selling these stories that somebody in the trailer park told him, only him, not law enforcement or anyone else, that there was a video of Leilani putting baby Quentin in a dumpster. Nobody has validated that. Law enforcement said they have no video. Trailer park says no one has come to look at any videos. They don't have a video. It's all orchestrated by Dolly, and another way for him to make money. But what always happens is when you get a group of people coming and attacking everybody that's involved in this one situation, one of them, because they're all being looked at, is going to reach out to another. One of them is going to reach out to someone. So when they're watching it, you got to put yourself in that position. If you're the family and you're watching this content of these protesters outside your house, and you're going through the chats, you're watching what people are saying about you at your worst, most possible time of your life, and you see people are like, Cher wants to talk to the grandma. Cher, Billy said, she's going to reach out to Cher because she wants people to know that what's being said about them is not all true. She wants to suddenly tell her side of the story because it's like the weight of the world is already fallen upon them. It's designed to pit YouTubers against YouTubers, to make people choose sides.
And there's always somebody to profiteer off of that division.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I would never, under any circumstances, involve myself in an active crime investigation by any means. I would never, ever, ever do that. Even if people did contact me, never would I do that, ever. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not a police detective. I have no training in that. I don't know body language. I'm not anything to do with that. And I would never forgive myself if I was the person whose words or actions created reasonable doubt that a defense attorney took to the bank. And then there was no justice for baby Quentin or anyone else. I would never do that.
This whole, I didn't fully know about the drone thing. That's grotesque. That is fucking
Court
grotesque.
TV. You got to listen to word for word for word, and you'll hear it. It says he flew a drone.
So all right.
Being found.
It's for the last question because I got to get to wrapping up. If you feel you haven't yet made it abundantly clear, please, the floor is yours. What is it that you would like everybody that sees this to take away? And then please go on to share exactly the purpose of your channel. And I'd like to add, I am honored to feel like we are a team. I believe we are both out for essentially something very similar. Now, that being said,
Definitely.
please have at it.
Okay, I'll try to keep this short. Number one, it's time that we all start speaking up. Lurking in the chats and watching the commentary, watching the shit show, watching the train wreck. It's gotten to the point where each case brings more vulgar behavior and pushes people further over the envelope of what's normal. So we're creating a standard by not holding these people accountable. Number two, subscribers are just as responsible. We have to, but truth be told,
Oh, he didn't really
he
fly.
did not fly a drone.
Yeah.
I mean, whether he flew a drone or not, the truth is that, yes, the truth is that he said the trailer park has a dumpster and that there's a video of Leilani on camera throwing something away at whatever time. That is not true. The drone was the method. That goes without saying. Ask these people for receipts. If you donate to a channel like Bullhorn Betty, who claims to have this not for profit or to be doing this, I heard today talk about she's doing Toys for Tots. If you donate, ask for a receipt, ask where the money is going. But think about what you're donating to. If you're donating to people like Bullhorn Betty, donating to people like Dolly Vision, Molly Golightly, Justice for All of these people, think about what you're getting back. You're paying. You are a method to the madness. You are contributing to the family or the environment or the community
You become
that's already suffering.
That's what I want
Yes.
to add. Yes.
Yes, that's what's happening. You're giving them the means to do what they're doing, which is causing pain, inciting violence, destroying these cases, running everything amok through the mud. And if you think it's okay for them to do to Quentin Simon, to Summer Wells, to Classic and Sincere, to Xavier Harrelson, to Cash Gernon, if you think it's okay for all of these other children, let me tell you this, you are not immune to tragedy. You are not immune to tragedy. It will happen to you. If it hasn't yet, it will happen. And I pray that it's not your children or anybody that you truly can't live without. But if it's okay for them, then what happens whenever it's yours? What happens when it's your tragedy? You cannot expect to be treated to a higher standard than what you're willing to treat somebody right now today. These people are down there doing nothing more than creating monetary value. They have taken Quentin Simon, a 20-month-old tiny little baby boy who has not been old enough to even hurt people, to love people. He is so victim, harmless. He's incapable of doing wrong. He deserves nothing like what has happened to him allegedly. So let's think about, if you're okay with what they're doing, the reality is that they've taken this tragedy that involves a 20-month-old baby boy and they've assigned money, a monetary value. They've decided that his value is marketable. So they're marketing a tragedy, somebody else's tragedy, somebody else's child's tragedy. The same thing that they did with Xavier Harrelson, the same thing that they did with Cash Gernon, the same thing they've done with Summer Wells, the same thing that they've done with Classic and Sincere, the same thing that they're going to do to the next child that comes up missing, or worse yet, murdered. And so if you're okay with it, if you're okay to give them your money, you're okaying them to assign a monetary value on somebody else's child, somebody else's dead child. You're allowing them to market it, to make money off of it, to sell it. So when it happens to you, and it will happen to you, you will lose somebody that you love and care about and that you cannot live without. Just remember, if it's not okay for you, it shouldn't be okay for anyone else. There really is kindness in minding your own business sometimes. Just don't contribute to the bad behavior. Just, we have to stop them. We have to stop them.
And
you're welcome to my channel anytime.
Oh, I fully intend to take you up on that every time. And what I'd like you to clarify, because I'm very excited, a lot of my community are joining you. What exactly, so in your own words, instead of what I said, just how do you view your channel and what it is and where it's going to go? What it's
my
your
channel.
Yes.
I got tired of lurking in the bushes, so to speak. feeling like I didn't have a voice or like I had no value in the online world because of the way that my physical world had treated me soon after my son had passed away. I got so used to the just the quiet solitude, the suffering, and just assumed it was going to be my way of life from now on. Your son is dead, and so there's no joy in the world. One day in a chat, I spoke up, and it was over people making jokes about Summer Wells laying on a milk jug, and they called it dark humor. And I spoke up and said, if that's okay for Summer Wells, who's 6 years old, and none of you have ever met her,
What the
her
fuck?
life has never impacted you, you've never been near her, then that means it's okay for you to make dark humor jokes about my dead kid, and that means I'm not welcome here. I super chatted it. It was the one time I needed to feel heard before that damn Queen Bee's panel. And what happened was amazing after that. We stopped counting at between 40 and 50 different people, moms and dads, that for the first time in months, all the way up to years, that had ever typed or said their child's name since they died. And they one by one started typing their child's name in the chat. And it was humbling, and it was impactful, it was moving, and I knew that there was a need for an open space to talk about grief. I feel like the reason that we all suffer in silence is because we're not allowed to talk about our loss without clearing the room or having people let us know your sad is too big for us. Nobody's sad is too big. There's therapy and healing in speaking your truth and talking about how you're feeling and what you've lost. And so I've dedicated my channel, my space, and the majority of my life to changing the narrative about grief. There has to be room. We have to make the room. We have to clear the space for the people to be able to communicate effectively grief. If we make it a normal part of conversation, people will not grieve in silence. They will not be at home begging for death, looking for a way out, thinking that there's no way to live without bringing the memories with you. And that's what I'm focused on doing. In the middle of some big projects with some big people that have famous names in grief, authors, things like that, to really bring to the forefront that it's a natural part of life. It's going to happen to everybody. How we handle it today shapes how those that we care about tomorrow are going to handle it. Just like birth is a natural part of life, and growing up and losing teeth and driver's license and marriage and babies, death is also a part of life. And so, yeah, no one's sad is too big. So I have an open place for people to speak their truth about what their grief is and what they're dealing with and the difficulties of their grief. And I'm gathering the people. I also want to make them stronger so that they're not exploited, they're not vulnerable, and they're not pulled out of a chat because they're hurting. I don't want to see any more, exploitation. Just get an honest job, man. Be an honest fucking human being. Go get a job and make your money. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. It's a career, and it feels good. You got Bullhorn Betty wants everybody to think she's an independent, strong, self-made woman. She's not. We don't want her. We don't claim her because she's a lie. She doesn't get to be one of us.
I'd like to ask you, would you be comfortable with a banner that's being made of people that are all kind of understanding that we have a common goal? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
I would show you who would be involved in that, by the way.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Secondly, I would like to officially ask you on your own channel, of course, do you accept being the grief counselor for the Progressive Patriot family at times?
Well, I'm not a licensed therapy. I'm not licensed for any kind of therapy or counseling or whatever. I do. I like the idea of self-supporting, co-supporting. I've been studying grief for the better part of 10 years since the first time I've experienced loss, and I've had five losses that were very, very, very close to me in a very short period of time. And so I've been studying a lot of it, reading a lot of books. I have a lot of therapy outlets. I can't really say counselor or therapist because I feel like that comes with like professional responsibilities, and I don't want to set anybody up, but I'm absolutely open to talking with anybody who's experiencing grief whether you're grieving or you're the support system of someone grieving. I do live streams throughout the week, occasionally on the weekends, about grief related information where we share healthy outlets, we tell each other stories, really reach out, to each other, trying to build a small community with a little privacy, with what we're
That's
dealing
what
with.
I'm trying to build. Yes, we
Yeah.
understand this. Yes.
And then at night times and in the evenings, I'm on here running my mouth, right, calling out the tragedy pimps, and then about to offer some tragedy pimp classes for anybody who's interested in those.
Is that something you made?
Yes, I'm serious about this bullhorn Betty.
Oh,
Get that bitch out of here.
can you like sell one to me so I could put it on my background?
Yeah, I
Cool.
can email it to you. Yeah.
Okay.
I printed it out and laminated it.
I love it. I mean, this is a big part of the mission, is holding everybody accountable and ensuring everybody within this community. Often I say something and it sounds like maybe you have a bit more faith in the justice system, or maybe I'm completely off on that. But I do often say justice for just us, because very often the smaller non-national sensation cases fall to the wayside. And I intend for this platform to be the light that those cases need.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like with the Summer Wells case, if it weren't for this platform, really bringing attention to the fact that Summer was missing, then I feel like Summer probably, they probably would have not searched for her as hard as they claimed to. Now, the exception is that, Ronnie Lawson is a bag of fuck, and he's as backwards, crooked, shady. A history that just came out into the light. There's a whole community of people that are exposing the sheriff for who he is. And it's a rare situation. It's a rare occurrence when a sheriff of 40 years has been doing the things that he has been exposed for doing. I am a firm believer that the justice system, the judicial system does work. But I'm not stupid to the fact that we have several parts of our system that are very broken. The CPS system is very broken.
That's what I've been doing a deep dive on.
It needs addressed. It needs ripped apart, exposed in every fashion. It is very broken. I could not agree more that CPS should be
stripped down,
completely restructured. Absolutely. It's not working. It's failing big time. And good parents are being let down. Good parents are being, I can go on and on and on for days and days and days about how bad CPS is. Never dealt with them personally, but I have friends who foster. I have friends that do home care. And I have friends that are in positions of authority and feel like their hands are tied. Like, they're at the point of quitting because they're out of options for what they can do. And it always comes down to funding. The state likes to say, we don't have the funding, but you sure got a lot of funding for a lot of other shit that's not a responsibility for funding. You know what I mean? Kids matter. Kids are supposed to matter a lot more. But when it comes to people like showing up and exploiting these tragedies, I say let the judicial system take its course. You have to. Because the judicial system is the only system that can actually bring prosecution, that can put behind bars. I mean, I'm okay with a little street justice when judicial system is not exist. You know what I mean? If somebody hurts your kids and you can't get the cops to show up, I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? I know what I would do. If the cops didn't show up. If I said somebody hurt my child and nobody showed up, well,
we're gonna do the damn thing.
We're gonna handle business.
Perchance, have you ever seen any of my little parody videos? It's okay to say no. I promise.
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of which one. See, my costume's pretty good. Nobody knew who I was for a long time until that backboard. I forgot to hang the black curtain thing up, and so it kind of gave me away. But I'm trying to think of which
I would love for us, since you do a fantastic impression, I would love to take on a persona of a yet to be determined. I might do a poll on the
let me know.
And I just look forward to growing this family of people that are here for the right damn reasons, because there's so many that may have started out that way that have just allowed themselves to rot from within. So let us be the change, everybody. Let us be the change that we want to see on this platform. And with that, I want to thank Paloma.Unstuck so much. She is the woman that I knew the moment I heard her. I had to have her on the damn show. And now I feel my life is just a bit more complete. And I look forward to the future. Paloma, thank you so much.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me. It's been great. I'll go back and read comments later. I hope no one thinks I was ignoring them. I can only see a couple at a time, but I'll go back and address comments. Hope I didn't offend anybody. I'm pretty blunt and open.
Yeah.
So, and I'll get with you behind the scenes here. We'll get together and maybe do something on my channel to bring some awareness to some situations. So thanks so much for having me. Everybody have a great weekend.
You say jump, I say how high. You got it. Take care.
Take care.
All right. And what I want to say, now we did a great show here. I'm very proud of everybody, especially Paloma. I wanted to add, oh man, you know what? I was going to address the bottom feeder, but shall I, guys? What do you think? No, let's not spoil it. I just want to know, this is what I'll add. Listen, Enlightened Watcher, I just want to know if your anti-Semitic comment came from somewhere real and deep, okay? Tell me about the Junos comment, brother, please, because I'm going to hit that play button, and there are some invested, intrigued parties that want to know exactly what you meant by that. Now, aside from that riffraff, this woman being here and speaking meant the world to me. I hope her message was understood, especially with her position of being somebody that lost their child and offering a perspective that a lot of us just could not possibly entertain. So I hope we all took something new, important, substantial with us before this closes here, and that we could all wake up tomorrow and hopefully start a better day or a better tomorrow from that day forward. So do as the moniker begins. Identify the things that unify us, identify the dividers, so we can have conversation, not confrontation, and hold everybody accountable. Please. That's the only way we'll ever hope to see any improvement anywhere. So that's all I got to say. I wish you could see my face because I'm tearing up. No, I'm kidding. Just my eternal gratitude. Creek Squad, thank you so much. Mod team, you guys do the most amazing work I could have ever possibly hoped for in my wildest dreams. And every supporter, viewer, commenter in any capacity, thank you for being a part of this family. It means the world. Thank you, each and every single one of you. Queen Survivor, Scars, Dawn / Find Jamie Valdez, Chronic Chronicles, Dolly Bear, Dawn Shell, Lilith, Angie. Thank you all so much. I cannot ever articulate how much you all mean to me and the new lease on life I feel I have. Thank you, Slim Reaper, Brennan. I get scared of saying your name wrong. SD, sorry for the mix-up, my man. All is good, all is well. Good night, my family.